Foz treats himself with exotic Argonian oils.
Lusty Argonian fowls.
Cyrodiilian bath salts.
My Cyrodiilian brandy. And my Cyrodiilian bath salts as I
Skooma, but it's legitimately just fucking speed.
Yeah.
As I read the Lusty Argonian maid in my bathtub.
Let's get right into the podcast.
Let's get ready to rumble.
I don't know.
Everybody,
I don't know any of these
8-bit
people.
Opinions. We are being obnoxious, so I'm going to tone it down a bit. This is 8-bit Opinions, a podcast where we talk about gaming news, and general shenanigans. I am the most tired person on the internet, Fosman, and with me are the boys. We've got B-Mel, Nosferatu Cam,
I want descriptive
and
terms for everybody else.
Zidane.
Descriptive terms?
Like
how?
Go ahead and give yourself one real quick, Cameron.
I can't. I need you to do it.
Okay, give him one.
I got nothing.
He has an example.
He's a tired boy on the internet.
Okay.
He's a boy.
Yeah, didn't I say man?
No, you said boy.
Are you? Did I? Okay. That's more fitting. I was like, oh, Cameron's bringing down what I said and calling me a boy. Okay, yeah, it actually did. I guess we'll talk about this real quick on the podcast. It did win Game of the Year, like last year. And by it, I mean Outer Worlds, which I really like Outer Worlds a lot. But it's not Game of the Year, man. No way. There's no universe where it's Game of the Year. Agree?
Except for this one, I guess.
Yeah, definitely agree. I mean, it was a really great game.
From what I've seen, I don't think it deserves Game of the Year. Not at all.
I just need to think of what other games came out that year to compare it to. Maybe it's a shitty year.
God of War, man.
That probably should have won.
It was top tier.
Heard great things.
God of War definitely is a vastly better game in like storytelling, gameplay. It beats Outer Worlds in like every aspect, right? So who cares about award shows though, man? Those
garbage
gaming or not, it doesn't even matter. Like, it's pretentious, it's self-indulging, it's
pretentious douchebags.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Seems like anymore every game is Game of the Year somehow. You ever notice
There's
that?
a Game of the Year edition for every, literally every game.
It's like do they just get some other magazine to review them as Game of the Year so that they can put that sticker on the box or what?
Yeah, I think a
that's
website
how that works. Said it. Yeah.
The maths just never checked out. I'm like, have there really been that many years in between release of these games?
I've never thought of that, but yeah, that makes sense. So maybe there's more. There's more than one like video game.
Because I think
show,
like
right?
IGN is like the big one, right?
Yeah.
When I think Game of the Year, I think it's like IGN Game of the Year. And then it like Publishers Clearinghouse, like clearance video game section Game of the Year. I don't know. Whatever you can put on the front of the box to sell it.
And you get a Game of the Year. Everybody gets a Game of the Year.
There's got to be like a definitive one.
There is. It's at that award show that we were talking about.
What was the award show?
That Outer Worlds. What is E3, correct? No, that's wrong.
It's like a convention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the award show? I really don't know. Can you guys figure it out?
I've never followed any of them.
Either.
E3.
I don't got time for that shit. You kidding me?
Wait, I was right, Cameron?
G3? I feel like that's something.
Oh,
no,
G3.
E3.
Now
E3, man.
Weren't they on Spike too?
That's what I thought.
Like that's the one we're talking about, right? The one on Spike TV.
The VGA.
So it's the New York Video Game Awards. Never heard of it.
Okay.
NVGA.
Yep. NYVGA. 9th annual New York Video Game Awards.
Wow.
Held in Manhattan. Outer Worlds was the night's big winner.
This is some important stuff.
Yeah, this is great. I wonder
being a little
What else? What else is in the
there,
running?
Cameron?
Just a tad, a little salty.
Let's talk about another game that is potentially a game of the year type of game, and that is Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah.
It launched last night. The hype, we have been waiting for like 8 years. And every time we got close, this game left our grasp again and again. And now it's finally here. And that is the first thing that we're going to talk about. Cameron, I would like you to talk because we have held off this for, this whole time wanting to talk about this. And I want to know your opinion, and then I'm going to tell you mine.
Give it to me, big boy.
My experience. I have 4 hours in the game, and I will say that easily half of those 4 hours is just me troubleshooting and Zidane troubleshooting today, trying to get the fucking game to work. It has frustrated me more than any other game, but when I get to play the game, it's really fun, and I want to play the game. That's why I keep troubleshooting so much, trying to get it to work, and it's just... At first, I created my character, got into the game, crashed instantly, updated drivers, it worked. And then now, since then, it's basically just been get in combat, you're going to crash. Something happens in the game. I rode a motorcycle too fast, and it crashed. And then...
Is that what happened today, Cameron? What happened today?
Both those things.
Definitely combat.
Yeah, definitely combat. And then it's just buggy as hell. They should have pushed it back one more time. I had no hype for, I had a little bit of hype for the game. I just refused to look into it or anything. I don't like trailers. I don't like spoilers, so I just didn't. And then Foz came in the other day and starts ripping, going, "Dude, it's the game. We're ready. We're getting so hyped." And so I was like, "Okay, I'll buy it and I'll play it tonight." And then here we are, pissed off. But the bugs are endless. The first 2 minutes, I saw 2 guys hovering, and one was floating on top of the other guy's shoulders. I found a really good one today.
That was hilarious.
That's not what you do to hang out?
No. So
just
I can
boys hanging out.
They're like Slav squatting on each other, maybe Russian.
Slav squatting.
That's what it's called. So they
Adidas.
If you do it perfectly, you can align the stripes in your jacket to your pants to your shoes. That's how you do it.
That's how you know. That's how you know that you've peaked, Cameron.
That's the Slav squat.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get one of those jump suits for this podcast.
Peak Slav.
When you were fully, aligned.
I'm gonna get a stool. I'm gonna get a tapestry that's a city sky backdrop, and I'm gonna Slav squat for 2 hours while we do this.
No,
I will buy you a tracksuit for this. Like legitimately.
Oh my God. No. What I want you to do is get a. I need you to put like yourself Slav squatting on like a banner behind
and
you.
Then
with the tracksuit.
Back to the game.
All right, it's a buggy mess. I noticed it's a buggy mess. I have to share one more bug. There has, I'd say, easily been more than 10 that I've but the really bad one I found today, because I can run around in the game and do whatever as long as I don't drive too fast or shoot people, which is what you want to do in this video game, because it does seem like a new take on like GTA in a way, like mixed with Deus Ex from what I've picked up in
heavy
gameplay.
GTA vibes from the most tired boy on the internet.
Right, but Deus Ex vibes too, which is super cool. But I found out that if you get on any like ledge or something just slightly elevated off the ground, and you can get to the corner of it, like stand on the corner, so like you're almost falling off, you get super speed. So Stan was watching me today, and I kept doing it up this railing going around a ramp. So I got super fast, like easily faster than a car, and then I started b-hopping down the road, like going faster than cars. I was just like,
are you saying
crazy.
you get this speed when you're going off the edge? Sorry, I
no,
kind of
the whole
missed
time. So if you're standing on the corner of a rail, Like if you just keep hanging on that corner and balancing, basically just not going left to right at all, you'll just get super speed while you're on the corner. So I don't know if you double speed because it's like two different kind of things. There's some collision in there, but you just start
So
taking off. So if you jump, you keep that momentum, and then every time you land, you just keep jumping, and you just, I mean, it's the silliest. Like there's so many bugs. I cannot believe it was released.
so when I was watching that, I kind of thought it looked like you were almost sliding down the rail, which I don't think was really what you were doing. I think you were like falling forward and like bouncing like back and forth repeatedly, but like Foz, so you get the gist of it. It was almost like he just hopped on the railing to this, or like the, yeah, I guess the railing to this road and just slid down it all the way, like on the top of it.
But I was able to repeat it on like anything.
Yeah.
Like just a handrail on the street, like I could do it. So the rail worked and the road the best. But I mean, I'm assuming that any elevated structure like that, you can do it.
I want to try this now. It sounds fun.
I enjoy playing the game. I just can't play it. Even though it's a buggy mess. Like, I want to play it. I just hope that they patch.
See, that shows how good it is. The fact that like a game that literally is not working, and you're just like, I want it to work. I want to play.
It's unique. I've not seen anything like it. A city, like a dirty ass city in the future with cybernetic mods and cool guns and good gunplay. Like
really good.
It sounds like fun. I do feel like it's gonna be pretty story heavy, but I mean that's fine. Like, I just thought The Witcher wasn't as story heavy as, and I don't know if it's
oh, it definitely is.
But main story, I don't know. I guess I just don't see there being a lot of side quests. I have not had the time to do that stuff or get far enough to feel that yet. But I feel like it's going to be pretty focused on the main story. I didn't feel like that was.
I think I understand what you're saying about The Witcher actually, and I kind of agree with you because
it's massive open world.
Yeah, the first time I beat the game, I probably put like, man, a lot. I wish I'd played it on Steam so I could know. I guess you can check on your consoles. I'm pretty sure that is an ability, but I put so many hours into it, and I would say 15% of that was focused on the 25% of that was focused on the main story, you know?
So that's what I'm getting. I think I've played 50 to 60 hours of it. I've not beaten it. I got to like the second place. You've said it before. It's like School Guard.
Skellige.
Yeah, that's far off.
The best zone ever.
And I feel like
I would agree.
I did a bunch of stuff running around having fun, and then I did a few main quest lines, and then I got put there, and then I just messed. So most of my time was exploring and adventuring. That's what I found the most fun. And fighting humans was a lot more fun than fighting monsters.
Which is kind of funny because the whole point is yeah. I thought that this is turning into the Witcher talk, but that's okay. I thought that the combat in The Witcher was the only thing that stopped it from being the best game I've ever played, like, period. Because I feel like it leaves a lot to be desired. I think you like it.
Me?
Yeah, you.
It's a nice change of pace because when I played it, I always am into Dark Souls. Like, I constantly have one I'm playing in the background. But I was super heavily into like Dark Souls 3 PvP at the time when I was playing it. So I was used to like, just running through the campaign, bashing my head against the wall on some bosses still. I didn't have everything pat yet. So to jump into The Witcher, it was just like a button mash dance of flow and fun and with some random magic spells. Like it was just a less carefree combat. I didn't have to stress about it. It was more because Dark Souls is awesome. I'll praise it all day long, but you gotta be ready to get your ass kicked. So that game, I felt like if I got my ass kicked, it was pretty rare.
Oh yeah, I beat the game on the hardest difficulty, and it wasn't hard at all. It was very easy.
I'm slowly becoming a bigger. I would normally start single player games in normal prior to Outer Worlds last, and now that I've done that and I started Cyberpunk in hard, I'm a big advocate for shooters, especially single player shooters, need to be played at least on hard.
Oh,
'Cause
for
I feel
sure.
like I could handle the next difficulty up. It's still not like bad, but I don't know how I'd feel about, I mean, hard mode in Dark Souls is New Game Plus, and it's still like, yeah, it's definitely harder, but if you ran through that the first time, it'd be really hard. Like without getting all that special gear from the whole first run, it'd be really hard to do New Game Plus as a new character.
This is so random. I just thought of it because you said New Game Plus. When you fight the why this is so random. In Dark Souls 2, when you fight the prisoner, you know what I'm
The
talking
Lost
about,
Sinner?
right? Yes. What happens if you don't burn the shit on the side before
Nothing.
you go in the temple? Are you sure?
Just dark, yeah.
Are you sure? Does that not make him I assumed he was more difficult if you don't burn the shit on each side.
It's just brighter in the room.
That's it?
Yeah, because when they launched Dark Souls 2, like all the promotional, or not when they started sending out the promotional stuff, they really hit on lighting. So they would show like, oh, you're in a dark room. Now you're holding up your torch and you like illuminated the room. So it was just a big thing. So that was supposed to be a part of that lighting system, I imagine. And they kind of just left it in the game because it is kind of a cool little Easter egg.
Yeah, they really focus on that into it's an interesting thing to it's an interesting thing to even want to focus on, I guess. It's kind of
Yeah,
weird when
especially
you
in that
think
kind of
about it.
And then they jump back from it. Because in Dark Souls 3, I'm 90% sure there's not torches.
I think you're right.
There might be a torch weapon, but there's not like a torch item like it was in that, where you had you can burn and
Right. So let me bring it back because we were getting off track a little bit. Let me bring it back, and it was my fault. But to Cyberpunk, because I want to tell you guys my experience.
I want to know. Please tell me.
I'm very curious.
Yeah.
Did you crash?
Fine. No.
Yeah.
No.
All right. Same.
Yeah.
Not
like,
once.
Not at all, man. Not once.
Well,
I've had one crash, and it crashed when I exited the game.
It was mad.
So like as I closed the game, like the game looked like it closed normally, and then I had a crash report. I'm like, oh.
Okay.
So yeah, so far it's been fine for me too.
Yes.
Cam's the only
I
unlucky one.
I haven't even seen bugs, man. I am notorious for. Well, I'm not notorious. I just know that I can do it. I can break a game, dude. I even tried, man. I did. I tried to like fuck with, and I could succeed sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. Like maybe something with the AI. If I were to stand still, or just like chill on something, they would actually like almost de-aggro sometimes, which I thought was really bad, but it's not I have to really try, and then only sometimes it happens. But yeah, no, man, overall I have not crashed a game once. Like the whole last night I did not crash the game.
So I want to throw out one more
like that.
thing. Jordan, his game, he hasn't been able to get past the title screen. And then the Discord we were in right before.
Real quick side note, Cameron, I am so sorry, but the music on the title track fucking slaps, man. Holy
music has been
shit.
cool, even on the radio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, all the music's been good.
Sorry,
And
what
then-
were you gonna say about George?
So his constantly crashes. He hasn't been able to even play the game yet. And then we were in a Discord before this, and one of the guys in there was streaming. And what was happening? Like, you could see the grass textures through everything.
Yeah, they were going through his car.
Yeah.
They were going through people. They were going through everything.
And he said it was the whole time he had been playing the game. It's been like that. And he's just playing it because it's fun. But
it was like
it's bad.
unplayable looking.
I wouldn't be playing
there was just
like that.
It was like there was just a big blotch of crap missing from the center of every frame.
Yep.
And like the line of
it looked bad. It looked really, really bad.
The outline of the grass. Like it kind of reminded me, you ever do like those out of the level maps, and like when your character walks outside of like anywhere where there's like stuff to render, and like as the character moves, there's like the like image of it stays fixed where it was or something, like weird stuff like that. That's what it looked like to me.
It
Oh,
wasn't good.
like when it's like when like maybe your character like sticks, Dan. Is that what you're talking about?
sticks.
Yeah.
Like it does the thing that Solitaire does when you win with the cards.
Yeah, that's it.
Like that.
That's
Except
such
with
an
Master Chief and Halo 3 after out of bounds
Good for you.
glitch.
I knew exactly what you're talking about. Stairway to Heaven and that
Yep.
first mission
Exactly
in
like
Halo
that.
3. Yeah,
So I mean,
We did that recently, boys.
fun.
we're half and half for performance. We're half and half for stability and playability. It's been pretty good for me and
like the
Foz.
grass. Yeah, like that sounds awful.
Let's talk about performance though, because that's kind of a gripe for me. It runs like doo doo on my machine.
Doo-doo.
So I have
what's your GPU? What are you running?
I have a 1080. I'm running it on low at 1440p, and it's an absolute struggle to stay above like 40.
Wow, 1080 is not a bad card. I mean, I know it's a couple generations behind,
crazy.
but it's not horrible.
It's been pretty rough. I don't know what it is.
I wonder what the recommended specs are.
I looked it up. It's it's
like a 2070 to run it at ultra at 1440p, I think.
I'm gonna look up the I'm gonna look up the minimum specs for Cyberpunk.
Well, I have a 2080 Ti, and I have it on ultra. Yeah, sorry, bag it up. My shit card, my shit now card. So I run everything on ultra and turn down some of like the shadow reflections and mirror reflections, sky stuff, just like the extra nonsense that I don't really care about to get a little bit more performance. And I stick around a solid like 80 frames, and I feel like I should be getting more for player.
Yeah.
It doesn't look that great. Like it's not. It looks good, but it's not like mind blowing.
Yeah, I actually, that's probably something that I would almost agree with. Is that I expected it to look a little better. I did.
Well, hold on. Cam and I were literally just talking about how stunning the realism was in some certain scenes. So absolutely no spoilers here, but basically just like ragdoll physics of character models. Like you would interact with a character's body and like you would actually see their flesh like react realistically. It didn't look like super video gamey. It looked like a accurate model of a human, correctly modeled and correctly behaving or interacting with stuff. Like
right, but that could just be the art style. I'm saying that like when you're out in the world, I feel like things should be higher res, maybe like some sharper stuff, less. I just don't know. And
I agree.
Performance is like when you get. But again, my game's crashing, so I'm probably not a good reference for this. But like, I would have a lot of times with frame drop. I'd be running around, and then hey, I'm around a few more people than I was before, and maybe 3 more cars. Well, guess what? I went from 85 to 60, and then you can notice that drop. And if it goes below 60, I'm like, okay, this is pretty bad, and it happens.
I kept wanting to speak on this, but I didn't want to interrupt you guys. My performance has been pretty good. I'm not shitting you, man. I would say I can stream the game and show you, but that does knock my performance. So that's not like a good way to replicate it. Yeah. But for the most part, man, I ran on high and everything, and like it's fine. Like it does drop sometimes. Yes.
Okay. What card do you have?
And the 580.
580 8 gig or 4 gig?
8. So my so yeah, and I mean my card is the worst one out of all of us. So I haven't had too many issues with that either. Were you gonna say something, Zidane?
I just want to throw out the minimum system specs for it because it's pretty cool. It's pretty low, and I feel like some of the stuff that we're running should be able to get a lot better than 40 or whatever Cam was getting. So
that's what I'm saying.
At 1080p for low settings, they want a minimum of 8 gigs for memory, a GTX 780 or an RX 470 with a minimum of 3 gigabytes of VRAM. So that's actually pretty low for today's standards.
Does that include the targeted frame rate in that?
I wish it did. No,
No.
but this is
Okay.
straight. This is from CD Project's Red. I can't say it. It's from their website.
Okay.
Something I think is silly. You take a 3080, supposed to be 20% better than my card. You run at the same specs I'm running. You're hardly going to be hitting over 100 frames. You're not going to hit, because
Yeah.
my ideal is 144 to hit that refresh rate of monitor. Like that's what most. I would say we are all kind of like higher end PC gamers here.
Yeah.
We care about that stuff and we read into it. So if I had a 3080 and I played that game, I would expect to play it on ultra and hit my frame.
Oh
But
yeah,
you're
for
not
sure.
going to do that. You need a 3090. So I need to pay $1,600 extra to
Try again, like
get what I
25.
want. That's
So
scalper. I'm saying in an ideal world, Zidane.
In a good world, in a just world.
this is kind of off topic, but does anybody remember what was the first title on PC that supported RTX ray tracing?
Battlefield 1.
Battlefield.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's that again. You remember that reaction? Oh, cool. There's this really awesome RTX thing coming out. And then everybody turns it on and it just cuts your frame rate in half.
Yeah, when I started Cyberpunk, it launched it with ray tracing on. So I went from 30 frames up to that 85 frames. But I don't have the newest card where they, supposedly made that better. But I still have the capability to do it, and it's a gimmick.
Yeah.
I was gonna
Here we go.
a dang gimmick.
Here we go.
I wanted to say something about the card thing that we're talking about. I kind of have a theory. I want to know what you guys think. This is just like my own kind of thing on this. So I think in the future, like GPUs, the main thing is going to be like why people buy them here, like soonish, is like RTX, like ray tracing, like something special like that. Because we're kind of at, when you look at like the new cards and everything, we're kind of like at a peak, I guess I want to say. So like, I think that in the future, it will be more so like, well, do I want, let's like, I play Apex Legends and this card gives less input lag because of this
Special deal.
certain special thing on it. Yeah. Do you guys agree, disagree?
I agree, because
I would agree.
we're having like the least generational jumps right now, especially in like you look at PS4 games, PS5 games are not that crazy different. Same with the Xbox. Now, I don't think that I keep bragging myself up, I guess. Sorry. My 2080 Ti versus the 3080, which is supposed to be the equivalent, like I don't see a difference. I see a framing. You know what I mean? Like it's not that impressive. So I totally agree with you. If they put spins on cards, that would help sell them in the future. I think the games will eventually become more processor intensive, because I think I've said it on here before. Like, I want to walk in a room, shoot a stack of cups, and I want every cup to be an individual item that breaks apart. I want to hit a bag of trash, have it explode, and now there's 50 extra pieces of items in the game. Something along the lines of that, not just, oh, it's really pretty. I want pretty and very interactive.
Very complex.
Realistic. I want to see the blades of grass. Like, you're not going to get better graphics. You just need to add more to give that feeling of better.
Yeah.
I agree. I think that's
good idea for future GPUs. What if eventually GPUs become kind of modular in the way that like the desktop platform is modular? So what if like you got like a PCIe daughter card, but instead of that being like a whole unit, maybe you get a daughter card and it has a socket for like a like a processor you can drop in. So you'd actually buy the GPU die on its own package and socket it and put your own heatsink on, and then it would have like its own memory controller. You'd have just DIMM slots to put memory in.
Why is that not a thing yet?
That's cool. Yeah,
doesn't that make a lot more sense? Because imagine, so let's imagine the 2080 to the 3080. Did we really need a new card? Because imagine if it was all modular and it was like, all right, like we made a new core with better RTX, or like we made a new chip with better RTX cores. Well, why do I have to buy the whole kitchen sink with it? I just want that chip. I guess my card's fine. I mean, it's not great, but it's got a GDDR5 memory controller. That'll work.
I really like that.
Hit me up, Lisa Sue. We'll work something out.
Good ideas. Good idea, Stanley.
I like it.
Here.
Back to Cyberpunk.
Yeah, let me bring it back again. No, it's fine, boys. I love it. I
did hit a pile of trash, and there was a bunch of different trash bags shot out. So that was.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I thought I was just gonna get stopped or something silly was gonna happen. No, it kind of exploded like trash.
See, I haven't thought that the environments have been like crazy interactive.
Yeah, there are few.
I just feel like it's the standard RPG run around. There's highlighted stuff to go grab. I mean, stuff's pretty sparse. And another thing that's kind of been bothering me is like, I have not stumbled upon a single NPC that you can just talk to. Like, really? Like, I walk around just randomly talking to people.
It's very scripted, the guy. Right?
Yeah, let's be vague. You have though, Cameron? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
But I felt like it was forced because it was one of the beginning missions, and you're just walking to your objective, and you hear this guy from the corner go, "Hey," and you want to go over and talk to the guy. It's.
I think. Well, I was like, I want to say something that I really like about the game. I think when you're in those conversations, because I know the one you're talking about, Cameron, we had the same start. It feels incredibly it feels incredibly real when I'm talking to somebody in the game. Because you I don't even know how to fully describe it, but the movements. I've never in a game felt like my character moves so fluidly in a conversation as it does in this game.
I mean, I agree because I think Stan brought it up earlier. Like, if you're sitting there and you go AFK and you don't respond, and it's not even a timed one, they'll say again.
Yeah.
They don't wait. Feel more real.
And if it does all flow together pretty well. It is all pretty scripted too. I would say the options can be a little slim sometimes.
The options
would also
definitely.
Agree.
I feel like the pattern that I recognize is normally you have like main quest objective talking points, or just I guess objective talking points that you have to talk to him about, and then sometimes there's maybe one or two like extra ones that you can ask about. So far, none of those have really none of those have led to an extra quest or anything. But I think there is a pretty cool way to find new quests to go do out in the world. So they're just like marked on your map, on your world map. So there's like a map of the world, and they show up as like undiscovered objectives. Like, who knows what you'll find here? But they're like just generic points of interest so that you can go and check out for something to do, which I assume will result in missions and stuff.
Right. And yeah, I definitely agree with that too, Stan. I wanted a little more as far as dialogue options go. I mean, in my opinion, Mass Effect has this game beat with the dialogue options. They're kind of like the same thing, but a game that's a decade and change old is doing it better.
We need to reiterate, these are more first impressions. Hopefully we'll pick up. How many hours do you have?
Okay, I fucking love I'm not 100% sure, man, but
say more than 3?
Yes. One thing I just wanted, it does, I think we're just being critical, man. I don't think, if people think we're being mean to the game, you're wrong, because I'm definitely not. I'm having so much fun, man. I really am.
That's what I said. I'm putting the extra double the time of what I've played to, try to actually play it. Not I'm not doing that because I just want to bash the game more. I'm doing it because it looks like a cool ass game.
Yeah.
We even had him switch from DisplayPort to HDMI because someone said that worked. It didn't
Trust me,
work.
we did a lot of shit today.
We did.
Wow.
What's
Yeah,
your opinion on
that
it,
sucks,
Zidane?
man.
Watching others not have actually self. Zidane?
Well,
What?
What's your opinion on it?
My
Seeing how
opinion?
you haven't played it.
Well,
You've
I
just
was
seen it.
I was gonna say I'm the only one in here that hasn't gone out and bought it day one. I don't remember the last. I think the last game I did that for was Battlefield 4, and that left a sour taste in my mouth. So I don't think. I guess I must have vowed to never do it again, because that game had a shitty launch, and a lot of games after that have had shitty launches. This, I think, kind of being one of them. Unfortunately, I can't really give my ideas about gameplay and whatnot, obviously, because I haven't played it. But from what I've seen, it looks good. Like, no doubt they're gonna send out an update tomorrow morning or the next day to try to fix some of the glaring issues like cams, because a lot of people, as we were reading today, a lot of people have been having cams problem, which is unfortunate, because that's, well, people want to play the game and they can't. I guess one thing I will say is that this, along with many other games that are big, has fallen victim to the hype train. I refuse to ever get on the hype train, because bad things always happen when you do. And I'm not saying it's a bad game, but I think you mentioned it earlier, Foz, that it should have been pushed back again.
Cameron said that.
Oh, okay,
Well, yeah.
It definitely, I feel like it should have been pushed back again. Like 100%. Like,
well, I mean, after so many pushbacks, what are you doing?
maybe that's true. Maybe maybe they
crazy.
don't know.
How did nobody, like, here's one thing that's really been bothering me that I just can't get my head around. My key bindings are different than Cameron's default key bindings.
How is that a thing?
So I could not, for the life of me, I could not figure out how to holster my weapon. So I was asking Cam, because he was playing, and he's like, it's left control. Like, no, it's not. That's crouch. But in the tutorial, it was telling me it was alt. I swear alt was not working last night. I tried it today. So my button to draw and holster my weapon is alt.
That's what
Cameron's is control.
But my HUD tells me that it's alt to do those. But I've just found out it's actually control. My crouch C. I have not edited any of it.
So I have two different crouch buttons. There's like a toggle crouch and like a crouch hold.
See, it's victim to rush production, which is sad,
right?
Because this game has the potential to be really, really, really good, and they need to iron those out. And nowadays that's just what we get. Though we get sent a broken product, and we're the testers, and then they fix it. A couple years later.
That's $60. I spent $60 on a beta that I can now test for other people.
That's what me and Foz were talking about the other day. So we've both played. Foz has played much more Witcher, but we both played it later, not on launch. So if we had played it on launch, would we have this, like you said, Zidane, sour taste in our mouth? Right now I'm not liking the game, but if I would have waited a month, hopefully it doesn't take more than that to get in on this, then my opinion would be very different than I'm having now, because I wouldn't.
For sure, 100%, yeah.
And I'd have 4 hours in the game instead of 2 hours. There's just a lot more to it. Really,
it looks beautiful.
Hey, I wanted to say something about Stan reminded me with the key binding thing. I actually had this one problem, and it was huge, and it was fucking annoying, man. And it's the weirdest shit ever. I might have been fucking up. I don't know. When I died, my key bindings reset.
Oh, that's
how weird is that, dude?
That's not good at all.
How weird. That is the weirdest shit. It blew my mind. I thought, I was like, you're doing something wrong, because there's no way. But because I'm playing on hard, And so I die. I've died a bunch of times actually. I feel like I'm not very. I almost feel like I'm dog shit at this game, which I didn't expect to feel that way, but it is what it is. And anyways, when I died, my key bindings would revert to default. It was annoying as fuck.
That's a pretty big bug, actually. I mean,
so it ended up stopping Zidane, but yeah,
that's good. To make the player reset key bindings every time they die. No thanks.
That's what I get for being trash. That's my penance.
I guess the moral is don't suck.
Yeah, don't be trash.
Don't be bad.
Yeah, okay, so we've talked about performance, we've talked about the bugs, we've talked about we haven't really talked about this, like the gameplay.
Well, hold on, we need to do our play-by-play of all the story. All the story we know so far with all the details right now.
Really
Okay, let's
spoiler review.
Yeah, sure, let's get right. Yeah.
Let's not talk about anything spoiler related at all. I think the gameplay is really good. The car is kind of weird.
It does the roach thing from Witcher. It just floats.
Does it?
It floats.
Everything in this game just floats sometimes.
I don't know. What do you guys think of the gameplay?
I really like the gameplay. I think the shooting feels really good for the 30 seconds I get to shoot until my game crashes.
Yeah.
I want to learn like the hacking stuff and get the ins and outs going. The driving is very clunky. It feels very blocky, but that's how I think all driving on keyboard and mouse feels. I'm not gonna pick up my controller, sit at my racing wheel or something just to drive. And it's not.
That'd be pretty cool though.
When we played Halo 3 finally on the PC, like the Warthog felt so bad on the keyboard mouse. I just left the controller running constantly plugged in, and I would just pick up the controller really quick, drive with that, and then switch back to the keyboard and mouse when I was on feet.
It's kind of hard to get it right, huh, boys? So like keyboard and mouse, like vehicle controls, like that's just never gonna
Grand Theft
work.
Auto feels awful on the keyboard and mouse.
Yeah.
But the gunplay redeems that. I mean, you don't have to use the cars, I imagine. Hoping there's a fast travel system in there. Fist fighting has been really cool. I'm not a melee weapon kind of person, especially whenever you can use guns. Who brings a knife to a gunfight? Shit, I'm gonna bring katana to a gunfight because you can cut people's heads off. I imagine. I watched it happen in a cutscene. I hope that they implement that in the real game, and it's just satisfying. Hit someone with a blade.
Chop the damn head off.
That'd be cool. So I might have a little bit of melee focus in my build. I think you get 3 weapons to carry. And I wouldn't mind having, instead of a pistol as a backup, having a katana. And I hope it shows.
Well, I think you had. I think it's 2 weapons and a dedicated melee slot.
No, I've equipped a pistol, shotgun, and assault rifle.
Yeah, he has. I've seen.
Oh, okay.
Before he crashes.
Yeah,
I crash.
I fought like a little mini boss today. I had a lot of fun with that. Cameron was watching me stream that one. It's part of the main quest line. Just a particular named enemy that you have to go somewhere, find, and kill. She was a lot tougher than I expected. I just kind of turned the corner unexpecting, and at first glance I thought she just looked like a normal ad. I'm like, oh, this will be nothing. So I crouch and shoot her in the head a few times, and she loses like 2% of her health bar and just bum rushes me.
Also, the health bar popped up in the top middle, so you know it's real.
Yeah, it was really cool. And she ran up, and I was shooting at her, and she was actively dodging me. Like she was actually jumping out of the way of projectiles. So she was really hard to hit, and she would do this like this melee attack where it was like energized or whatever. There was like a spark effect. It was kind of cool. I hope that's generic enough. Is that safe to say?
Yes, that was very generic. That was good.
Yeah, that was great. That was so good.
That was good.
I'm trying very hard. I
could
not imagine ruining this game for someone.
I don't
Like, I
think
really
It's
don't
super
want to.
impressive.
if we say something within the first couple hours, I wouldn't say it's ruining, because if you ever see somebody do a game review, they're like, all right, all the gameplay footage you're seeing here are from the first couple hours of the game.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's like a TV show. If something happens in the first episode of the TV show, Walter White, he gets cancer. He's got to sell meth to support himself. That's all in the first episode. You can.
Okay.
I think you're fair to share general details about the first episode, as long as more to come. Depending, I guess, on what-
all we've talked about is the first episode
Yeah.
of
Pretty
this
much.
game. So
Yeah.
pretty much like the intro, because I don't think any of us are far by any means.
We're still watching the first episode, and
moved
like
very
we're just
slow.
getting back from the first commercial break.
intentionally.
That's where we're at here. So it just came out yesterday. We're gonna play it quite a bit more. Keep going.
I hope to.
Nah, not you, Cam.
Not me. You guys can.
I feel
Dude,
so bad.
I'll trade you machines for a minute. I will. You just have to wait.
Pop out my shitty old Alienware, running on that.
Probably work.
Alienware, hell yeah, brother.
So and
Do you
so,
still have 2 GPUs in your machine?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I don't. But I do have another GPU in my closet. I could.
what is
I
it?
was wondering.
A
Maybe you had
760 Ti.
Oh, close. You need a 780. Nice try.
Oh. Damn it.
Cam just can't get this game to work, man. It's not. It's
a
not.
no-go.
It's not in the. Is in his.
Not gonna happen,
destiny.
man. But here's the good news: you put too much time into it to refund it on Steam.
Dude, if I really was
Thanks,
pissed about
Dan.
the money, if I was pissed about the money and they would not refund me after this, I'd be throwing a fit. I'd be like, look how many times I've launched the fucking game. Just something.
You know,
That-
you know what happened of that complaint?
That tier 1 tech support guy just get upset and
No. Anytime I think of someone like complaining to a company, I just imagine a printer with a shredder directly under it. So it just prints directly into the shredding bin.
where did I say those faxes from corporate go?
Yeah.
Only the best office references around here
Yeah.
on the 8-Bit Opinions podcast. I wanted to talk about the customization as well, because I didn't think it was. There were parts of it that were really good, and then there were parts of it that were really bare bones.
Did you guys see that?
Dick sliders.
Did you see
Why is
the
that a
fucking-
thing?
The GIF I put in the other Discord in the general?
No.
Did anybody watch that? Go watch it right now.
I can't.
was it?
Or I
It's
would.
relevant to that.
Like, why is there a dick slider? Why does that need to be a thing?
So I
assume there's.
I
gonna be
heard from
scenes where-
someone secondhand
What was that stand?
that
It looked, boys.
I
I heard
heard-
dinosaur pulled what looked like a dick out, and it fell on a bunch of kids. It was really wrong. Don't go watch it.
Okay, hold on. Animated. That's all animated. It's not realistic. It's all clips from the Land Before Time.
Those
Just
kids are really
manipulated to look
400-year-old waifus. They just look 7.
Anyway, what
Oh
were you
my-
gonna say? What were you gonna say, Stan?
Oh my god. I was so focused on damage control. I think I'm lost. What were we talking about?
We were talking about
The dick
Oh, the
slider.
Yeah.
The penis customization. So
beyond a penis, just keep on it.
So I heard secondhand that if you keep on that, later choices that you make will be relevant to romantic encounters in the game. So I mean, we'll see.
Go large. That's the only way.
Could
Yeah.
put a vagina on my character, and he's a dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could I
I'm
put boobies on if I
saying-
wanted?
I don't
I don't know.
so.
I didn't try.
No, you chose your body type before like the customization. Remember?
Can you be a female?
With a
Yes.
dick,
Yeah.
I bet. You'd be a
Oh
tranny.
yeah.
That's interesting.
True.
The future, man.
It's 2020
Anything goes.
Maybe
or
it's not right.
2077.
Yeah.
2077, man.
Do whatever the fuck you want. Interesting. So what
yeah,
other customization is there besides the dick slider?
There is hair. There is facial hair.
Just your
there-
generics.
I was trying to think if
Eyebrows, eyes, nose,
Yeah.
jaw, mouth.
Like the main face
The main things you
features.
would
What
see.
about like are they called cybernetics?
Yeah. There so
Wow.
most of those things include the cybernetics, like the eyeballs, the cyber eyeballs, the tattoos, all of it seemed to be of like a pretty short selection. Kind of like I would liken it to the character customization in like Elder Scrolls or maybe even Saints Row, because it's kind of in that same genre. Like, yeah, you can have tattoos all over your body, but I think there was like 10 to 15.
No.
Four? There are four body tattoo
There were
options.
4 tattoos. There was a decent amount of cybernetics, I think, like around 10 to 15. So there was a good amount of that. But I agree with you, Stan. There was I was floored when there were 4, like literally 4 tattoos.
They should have done like the Call of Duty emblem system. Like make your own tattoos all over your dude. Like just take like little shapes and stick them on there, however, to make it look like whatever you want.
I agree, man. I kind of wanted to have like my character have like a big badass sleeve, but I couldn't even do that.
No sleeve for you.
What I wanted sleeves and I wanted scars. Like I wanted to be
there were some scar options.
There was 2 body
were
scar
there?
options.
Body scar options.
Yeah, and then there was maybe 8 face
well,
scars. I guess
that confirms that there are only 2 places on your body you could ever get a scar, and that's a fact.
It's just like Foz is saying, it's lacking in some places. Other places have better stuff. Eyeball, like your pupils, they really had some more unique stuff, like cross and skull bones in your eyes, or just like X's, blank. I mean, they had a lot of different things there, but it's like you had so many different ones. I feel like you could have expanded on that a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're gonna throw in these miscellaneous like swirling hypnotist stuff, like why can't you put more other symbols or something?
Yeah,
maybe there were plans for more. But I don't know. Maybe
they got cut.
Yep, that's what I was going for. Because I mean, I feel better knowing it wasn't just me that noticed it. We all kind of feel the same way, and it's like that's a little weird.
I would assume a lot of things got cut from production.
Well, how does it stand up to other CD Projekt Red games in terms of customization?
I mean, there really hasn't been that many.
There's not a lot of precedence there, I guess.
The only customization you really have is hair options and facial hair options for Geralt.
Yeah.
That's really it.
Yep.
We're one up. Is that the only other thing that they make?
Yeah.
Witcher? That's it.
And Gwent, the Witcher card game.
How about the card game then?
Gwent is a 10 out of 10.
How's the customization there?
Yeah, Gwent is the best game. The game of Gwent in Witcher 3 is that's worth the price of a mission alone, baby.
Yeah.
And you
it's
have
the most fun game ever.
You have Thronebreaker, the Witcher Tales, whatever the fuck that is.
Yeah, that's cringe.
That's literally all they have is the Witcher in this game.
One other thing I was going to say about Cyberpunk's customization is I did like how it if you switched eyes, it wasn't like it just like ticks to the next one and shows a new set of eyes on your character. It actually like morphed. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Like it changed fluidly to like the new set of eyes. I thought that was cool. I've never seen it.
I think there was a fluid animation to most of the customization stuff.
There was like all of it. I noticed it on all of it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's where I've noticed a lot of detail in the game. Is just I want to attribute it almost more to physics. It just looks so realistic that an object can like shake and morph like that on a 3D model. Like, I mean, not to be crude, but like there was this one scene where you saw boobs and you had to like carry the lady, and they looked really, really realistic.
They bounced like real boobs, not like
booby physics. 10 out of 10.
Like Dead or Alive Ultimate, whatever. There's a gust of wind and the boobs shake like 3 times up and down. No, it wasn't like that. So it was.
That's definitely not.
I know what he's talking about. It was refreshing to not
See this?
You didn't even have to look. It wasn't a focal point, but if you want, it was very mature. It was handled very mature.
Yeah, that's a good way. That's a really good way to put it, Cameron. It's just like it's very mature. Like that stuff is there, but it's all handled in like a mature game.
That lady needed
the whole
your help.
game is handled in
That's
like
why
a very
you're there.
mature way.
So but this game wasn't made in America. It was made in some European
Poland.
country. Poland. It was made in Poland. Nudity in other countries rather than America, not a big deal. We're just weird ass backwards.
We're just immature little 12-year-olds.
I love.
We're all insecure over here. I don't want to be around
boobies.
I always get on this, man. Like in a movie, like I can like see some guy like cut like 20 people's heads off in America, but if I see one titty, all bets are off, man. If I see a penis, oh my god, it's
rated R.
Penis.
Immediate. But T for teen, cut heads off.
Yeah,
Booby, it's rated R.
M.
Exactly.
Unless it was like old school horror films that were rated teen.
I'll be right back.
Like Jason.
Yeah, Mike Myers, like those old.
Yeah.
Pretty sure those were rated. Some of those. They got away with them all back.
I don't know how those got away with anything. Those are mature movies with the amount of violence and just everything. Yeah.
When was the ESRB film like started? I only know that abbreviation because of that Nim song.
I knew exactly what you were going to say, man. I go for teens. I'm just like Blizzard in the ESRB.
That's the only reason I know that.
Cool. So I think we covered just about everything with our initial impressions on this game. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about in regards to Cyberpunk?
At one point I got to pet a cat.
Oh,
I've never been able to pet a cat in a video game, so maybe that's why I'm sold on this. I showed Brandon that, and he said he would buy the game tonight if I went and found a dog pet. I looked. That's what.
You looked for a while.
Yeah, that's probably an hour of my 2-hour gameplay is looking for a dog, and I can't find a damn dog. I also haven't found another cat after that one I saw, so maybe it's a unique situation.
I need to be able to. If I can pet a dog,
You can.
I will be very happy.
So in conclusion, then it's a good game from what you guys have played.
It's a good game with a shaky launch.
Shit
I
needs
think shaky might be an understatement when you're.
Well, I mean, here we are, 2 for 3.
Situation. True.
It's rough.
I almost wonder if Cameron isn't just getting some.
Would you say it's just a shaky launch? A little
No,
shaky.
I'm pissy about the launch.
Yeah.
I want to play it and I can't.
Can
That
hear.
one kid's stream that we watched, I mean, that's worse than shaky. If you constantly have grass glitching through your car while you're trying to drive,
Yeah.
anything that really just takes you out of it, that's worse than shaky.
So a good game with a shit launch.
Which is typical now, though. You said Battlefield 4 had a shit launch. Has any
Yeah.
Battlefield since had a good launch?
No.
Like, does any game have a good launch?
No, I said it. We're like beta testers,
And we're paying for it.
which is shit.
It's so frustrating. And it's like, for what? What are we making these sacrifices for? Why can't we just go back to Source Engine? Imagine Cyberpunk 2077 on like Source Engine 4 in 2020.
It would be
Like,
fun.
imagine if
It'd
we
run
just-
perfectly.
Like, imagine if we just had one really good, really mature engine. Maybe something that you've been maintaining for a while, something you refactor once or twice. So like Source Engine 2
Oh, dude, the
or
Bethesda
Unreal Engine. Unreal Engine's cool.
I don't give a
'Cause
shit. Source 2 looks good still.
I just feel like there's some performance issues with Cyberpunk that aren't really a hardware constraint. They might be like optimization and performance issues in the game, because there's just no reason a 1080 should be dropping down below 40. Sometimes when I've been driving, it's gotten down into like the low 30s, and that's at 1440p on low.
That's
Yeah.
when I noticed a decrease for me, Stan, was when I was driving around sometimes. Yeah.
Driving definitely gave me a huge cut.
Yeah.
Something that we need hit on or talking about a little bit, and none of us can really speak to it, but maybe you've seen something. How is this going on console?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't.
I can't imagine good.
I mean, if it's running like dog shit on the PC, I can only imagine that.
Would you almost assume maybe it is okay because like with consoles, like all Xboxes are the same? I mean, that's just one aspect where I could see it be.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
My only experience with this is whenever I had the dong slider, I sent a snap to a few friends, and one of my buddies who doesn't play on the computer snapped me back, and he's like, "Is it any good? Like, I've heard it's really buggy on consoles." And he snapped back again and said, "Oh, well, actually, I imagine it's not on PC because PCs are going to be the best of the best." And it's like, "No, mine's been a piece of shit." He says, or at least knows it's been buggy on console.
Okay.
But that's
I assumed that it. Honestly, I assumed with how shaky it was for you, shaky. I assumed that it would be bad on console as well. So you guys are probably right. I was just trying to like maybe think about it from a different perspective, but you're probably right, Cameron. It's probably just as bad, if not worse.
Especially on the previous generation console. Too.
Yeah.
So like a PS4 and Xbox One, I bet those things really struggle.
That's exactly what I'm reading, and they're saying that it runs like absolute dog shit, and it's running at 720 or 900p.
Awful.
That's awful. Why would you ever see who decides to make that compromise? Ask anybody. Hey, do you want to wait 8 years for a game that runs at 720p? No. Do you want to pay full price for it when it's not done? No. Yeah. I mean, it's wild. So I was kind of poking around. I found a review I was going to share too. This is from Chris Tapsell, staff writer at Eurogamer.net, and his summary is: exceptional characters, heartfelt storytelling, and enjoyable action threaten to be engulfed by endless bugs and hasty, uneven design. So we're not here alone, and this was
well said, Chris.
Oh, this is his PC review. So I don't know. I can only assume it's the same.
I would agree, Stan. One small little note I did want to add as well is for my launch, one of the things that I encountered was it was stuck at like 57 gigs for like almost an hour. And I was being hasty and an idiot, and I just ended up re-downloading the whole game when actually I just had to wait. I don't know what the fuck it was pre-downloading for like almost an hour. That's insane to me. But yeah, I did want to say that because I saw that a lot of people online had that issue, and I definitely
thought it was decrypted. Is that what you said?
Oh, you're right. You're right. Decrypting for an hour.
I don't. Yeah, that's some bullshit. But at least you found a fix to your issue. Thank you, Zidane, for troubleshooting with me for a solid hour.
Yeah, no problem, dude. I'm here for
no
you.
progress.
So here's one more article. This is from the U.S. Sun. Cyberpunk 2077, in quotes, looks terrible on PS4 and Xbox One as gamers share shockingly disappointed graphics. And the article is a compilation of people. So here's a tweet of a guy sharing a clip from the PlayStation 4. There's another user, similar clip on Twitter, and it honestly does kind of look like crap. Like the textures are not loaded in. So, like when an object just comes into render distance, especially like a character model, in a lot of games, like they won't load everything in at first. They'll load like a fuzzy texture that kind of looks like their outline over it, and then it like slowly pops in. It looks like that, but it never actually finished.
Cool.
Now these things pop in, even on Ultra, driving down the road, pop in all the time. So you would just see random clutter on the side of the road, just boop, pop in, appear, and characters appear. And this is something we didn't talk about. This happened to Stan and I both. I watched Stan when he was streaming one time shoot these people, 2 of them, I think, turned around to look behind him, came back, they disappeared.
Yeah, mid combat. I did not kill them. I just started combat.
And then my experience, I ran down the road because I was just trying to break it to test out this new fix would do stuff. So I would just run down and I stabbed like 6 people. I spun back, only one of them was still there. Like I watched them fall to the ground. They should have been still on.
When you were talking about texture pop in, like you all have this installed on an SSD, right?
M2.
M2.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Well, yeah, you can't get much faster than that. So
Yeah. I don't know. It seems pretty ubiquitous across all platforms. I'm finding articles that say pretty much the same thing everywhere.
So I think that the conclusion we have come to is obviously not like groundbreaking, not different from what other people, we're kind of saying how everyone's feeling. So
I got one last thing. So the engine that was used is an engine that they made. It was called like Red Engine.
Yeah, Red Engine.
And that is the only engine that they've ever used for any of their games. They've been using this engine since 2007.
Witcher 1?
Started with Witcher 1 all the way up to now. I'm sure they've updated and done whatever they needed to do. Yeah. But you think with 13 years of experience on this engine,
I don't know, man. So how do we know it's not like a performance scaling issue with the engine? I think some game engines scale drastically different. So like I think some things may age really well, but I think, if you're unlucky and you just happen to write it the wrong way, maintaining a 13-year-old engine could be a huge pain in the butt. Like maybe it just can't handle like maybe it has a hard time handling that many open files because like at the time they didn't have to worry about file system performance, but now every texture is fucking huge. You got to get like all of them all at once all the time. So like there's a huge storage demand, and I don't know. There's a lot to go. There's a lot going on in a game engine. And I just think when I see a developer, even if they have been running on their own engine for 13 years, because that's what everybody's been doing. That's what everybody started doing, and that's the norm. But anybody trying to run their own engine anybody trying to make their own engine and run their own games on that, it's just, can you really keep up? Versus people who can like share engines, who are building on something open source or something that's like a little bit more established, like what Source. Blizzard and everyone else uses, Source Engine, that.
Everyone just needs to use Source too.
So I really like what you said, because that reminded me of Bethesda. They have been running. I wish I knew the actual answer to this, but they've been running on the same engine since Oblivion for like the Fallout games up through Skyrim, and probably I think they're planning the next one, Elder Scrolls 6, in the same engine. And basically all they've been doing is just making. So. They just keep making increases to like, oh, our shaders can do this. We can do this kind of textures. We can get this many pixels in there. They just keep highlighting the graphical endeavors of their engine, but they should really hit on the physics part of it.
It's called the Creation Engine
for Bethesda, right?
Correct.
Yeah. How long have they been using it?
That one I can't see.
Way too long.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Imagine running Oblivion and then Fallout 76 with multiplayer all in. Like, why?
I'm just seeing Skyrim on. I don't see anything older.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it Creation 2 or something? Because I know that they just keep advancing the same engine.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Creation returned.
Creation V2.
Creation. But this time it's personal.
This kind of launch just has me feeling like gaming as a whole is just a mess.
It has been for a while, though, to be honest.
Technology, everything is a mess right now. We've got our hands in some sticky shit here.
Yeah, a launch like this will definitely make most gamers, cynical. I agree,
Well,
Stan.
it's not just this launch. It's every launch, man.
Yeah.
like we said, when's the last good launch of a game?
Sekiro, that's the last
Yeah.
$60 game I bought, and it ran fine. And that's why I expected this one to run fine, because that came out as a $60 single player game. I played it. This game's a single player $60 game. Big issue.
You guys know a lot about From Software. Like, they seem pretty legit to me.
They made a game called Ninja Blade, and I want you to look it up after this. It is probably the worst game ever made.
It's really bad.
They went a direction that is like a third-person hack and slash shooter that they should never have tried. It was when they were trying to find out what kind of company they were, what kind of game they wanted to create. It was before Dark Souls.
It was the first game they made, though, wasn't that game. There was a game they made. Man, I can't remember, but it was
Kingdom something. Kings.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you're right. You're on the right track. It was old school, like 2D feeling dungeon crawler.
Like you're trying to walk through the Windows 98 maze.
Yes, but you're fighting monsters in more of like a Morrowind style combat rather than a turn-based combat like the time would have, had, or that would have been the style of combat during the time. So it was different in that sense. And they even have like I think items and maybe a few monsters from that game that carry over into the Dark Souls. I think is so cool. So it's weird they went from that to what Zydane's talking about, because I've heard about this, seen some videos on it. It's weird.
It's fucking horrible.
And then they went back to Dark Souls. They were like, all right, we're going back to Dark Souls. We need to do the, hard
Kingsfield.
shit. Kingsfield, yep.
Was their first game.
Probably like 97 or something it came out?
94.
Wow. Dang.
So yeah. Anyway, how do we get on that?
Bethesda.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So are we good?
Yep.
We're
good.
Fantastic.
Good. So the next thing we're going to talk about, that's enough Cyberpunk. We're actually going to do another review, boys, because I think being a critic is one of the most fun things. And in gaming, you can do it really well. We all can do it really well. So we're going to review another game today. Another 8-bit opinions review. Yeah. By the way, I want to say something real quick. I'm sorry, I should have said this in the beginning, but definitely comment below, anything you want. Would love to hear from you, but let us know how Cyberpunk ran for you personally, and kind of your just opinion on the whole matter. And definitely leave a comment after we review Skyrim. Love to know your thoughts on that as well. So we're spoiler alert. That's what we're going to review today. Is Skyrim. We kind of talked about Bethesda games already a little bit, and yeah, I mean, I definitely have a lot to say about this game, and to be honest, most of it is very negative. So, let's start. Let's just start. Does someone want? I mean, we could pick a category.
I'll talk about it.
Yeah.
I think I like the category style of how we did it last time, to be honest. And then really we give we can put inputs in the categories, but I like to round it out at the end with our overarching opinion.
Okay.
You guys like that?
That's fair.
I do. I agree. So go ahead and give us a
1 to 8
topic, Stan.
A topic
about Skyrim,
I think we should stick to the same 4 we did last time.
Like a metric for measurement, right?
Oh, we did 5.
Let's use those.
Yeah, we should try to use the same ones. What was one of them?
Performance.
Fine.
I think it ran well.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think it looked great for the time too. So, So Skyrim was one of the first PC games I played, and when I built my first computer, when I say first PC games I played, I mean when I started building my own computers. Like, that wasn't the first PC game I ever played, but it was the first one on an actual gaming machine. I got my first GPU, and that was the first game I played. It was a Radeon 7870 Core Edition,
Hell
2 gigabit.
yeah.
Yep. It's pretty cool. And I just remember the absolute big dick energy of launching Skyrim. And it's like, we've auto detected your graphics settings. They're ultra.
Yes.
Like, yeah, they are. I'm a
Fuck yeah, I
pro
am.
gamer. So I think it ran great. And I ran it on an AMD Infinity display for a little while too. And, ran some mods and stuff. I probably have more like replay throughs through that game than almost any other game other than like the Halo series. I love that game so much.
Man, you said it looks good. I think it looks
all
pretty
things
bad.
considered.
We're talking about performance, how it runs, how it looks, right?
We'll talk about looks later, boys.
Yeah, I would count like
Performance.
the visual quality.
All right, so we'll stick
later.
to performance then. I'm sorry, Stan. Didn't mean to cut you off, but like I'm just trying to keep some fucking semblance to this.
The tired boy of the internet's coming out.
Yeah,
I'm rambling.
I mean,
no, you're fine, Stan. What were you gonna say, Teddy?
I said I ran this when I bought it. I was not in a position where I could have a desktop. I played it on a laptop with like 1 gig of VRAM, I think, maybe 2. And it wasn't a fantastic laptop, but it ran extremely, extremely well. I think this is a game that wasn't rushed to completion like they are. I say now, but this game came out freaking Skyrim 2016. No, later.
No, 11.
Why am I? Oh, special edition came out in 2011.
I agree, Zaydin.
It ran really, really well, and it wasn't rushed. You can tell. That's back, I think, when they, kind of cared about the products that they were churning out.
I agree with you.
I think performance had to have been well. I mean, you can run it on your Samsung smart fridge.
Is that a thing?
No, I don't. Samsung smart fridges are a thing, but you cannot. I do not think you're putting Skyrim.
I need to find me one and try it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How much RAM does your smart fridge have?
So I mean, they've put it on the Switch. It's released on it came out on the PS3, Xbox.
Yep.
Stage. I mean,
Windows, place. Yep, everything. Legitimately everything.
And I never thought it ran bad. So playing through the game, it was never like, oh shit, my frames are dropping really hard right here. Better go, cool it. Or I didn't play it on computer. Only later in life did I. So I played shit out of it on my. That was one of those games where I had friends come over, 4 TVs set up in my living room. We were all just playing Skyrim, hanging out and talking. Because that was before we did this. We weren't computer games. You didn't get to hang out online like this. You want to play local games and talk to your friends, you just had to do it locally. And that's a good memory I have of the game. It gives me a little bit of almost nostalgia, because that was something I played on launch. I would have been in high school, so Thanksgiving break was coming up right after that. Christmas break was coming up right after that. I was ready to play Skyrim, and so on consoles, you would either platinum a game, or there wasn't a name for 1,000 score on the Xbox, but I 1,000 gamer scored it on Xbox, and it's one of the few games I wanted to do that with. I wanted to go get all of the achievements. It was fun enough to do that. I never, right now thinking, I don't have a lot of bugs that are performance breaking bugs. The only bug I can think of was the armor stand mannequins would become like a real physical human at some point. And it was scary as fuck. So being in this
that sounds like a nightmare, man.
Solitude house or whatever, and having armor stands, it scared the shit out of me. Even being 15, 16 years old, I was like, dude, I don't want to play this, and walk down in that creepy ass house and have one of those things just start following me. That should not happen. So it was more of entertaining bugs, because bugs are entertaining sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But these Cyberpunk bugs have been in, but they've also been very taking me out of the game. Seriously takes it. or how the community because of hype.
Yeah, I can't really think of any specific glitches or bugs
I'm
that
trying to think
stand out to me at all.
And it handled mods perfectly fine. So I assume that can give a bonus to performance.
Became a thing to like see how many mods you could put on it to get it to crash.
You could run a ton. I want to fly around as Goku shooting mud crabs with Monica.
Replace dragons with Thomas the Train Engine.
Yeah.
Thomas the Tank Engine? Tank Engine or Train Engine?
Thomas the Tank Engine. Yeah, and then he'd smash the building and you hear his train whistle go off. And everyone's like, ah! It's a great mod. Why would you not want to do that?
That's one of Video Game Donkey's best videos is when he fucks off in Skyrim.
Oh my god, yes.
One that made
Classic.
popular. Yeah. That's like one of the most. You're right. That's like a YouTube classic right there, man.
Can you do me a favor, Cam? Can you move your mic close to your mouth?
Yes, I'm sorry. I've changed my input sensitivity to not detect, and now there's a limit. Do I keep cutting off at the end of my words or something?
You do.
I'm sorry, everybody here on the podcast. I will speak like this the rest of the time.
I mean,
Yeah,
you don't have to do that. I would prefer you not, but
We can
All
don't.
right. So let's
Fair.
transition then to the way the game looks. I don't think.
Did
it
you
looks
talk about
very
performance?
good. I
he chimed in.
I agree with you guys. So like I had nothing additional to add to that. I'm in your guys' camp with that. However, I do think the game looks pretty bad. I think that
I
think
agree.
that the characters look really, really bad. And I think that the environments look bad. I think the design of enemies looks really bad. And the fact that there is only like, and if you don't get mods, there's only like one type of dragon.
Right?
No,
That's disappointing.
There's like 3 types. It's
but
like,
they're just different colors or a little bit more spiky.
yeah, there's like no creativity when it came to the dragons, which was like a major selling point of the game. Yeah, it's just awful to look at. Comparing it to Oblivion, which has such a beautiful, like, different landscape. Like, there's so many different landscapes. Yes, there's the Heartland. There is the northern part. There are swamps. There are forests. There are rolling hills, plains. Reservoirs. Like, Oblivion has everything, and it's so colorful. It looks great. Skyrim has this, like, reminds me of fucking Gears of War, man. It just looks gray, and
Gray as fuck.
I hate it, man.
Guys, did we play the same games? What the fuck's going on here?
I totally
Apparently not.
disagree with this.
No, I'm totally on Faz's side with this.
I am too.
It is gray.
Really?
The color palette is dull.
Yep.
It's not exciting to look at. When you first walk out in the world, think of the first time you get out of the tutorial. In Oblivion, you walk out, you get out of the sewer, and it's this wide open field with a river, and it's green and pretty. You got a white building with columns, and it's awesome.
Alien Ruin. There's a giant mountain, like trees.
It
and
is
everything.
very
It's all
cool and
green.
imaginative,
I
but
think
it also
Skyrim-
looks like an oil painting and a blurry one.
I love the style. Personally, I love the artistic style of Oblivion. I think that it is very unique and very colorful and beautiful.
It's very. My complaint with Oblivion is it's very glowy. Things are very soft in Oblivion, but that's not really a big issue. A lot of light reflections and a lot of glowy stuff.
Maybe that's how I should have explained what I was trying to say.
But in Skyrim, you walk out of the cave, you see some mountains, which I guess are cool, but not as impressive as seeing all those wide open fields and pretty colors. So I'm gonna give Oblivion that one. Just it's so much. We talked last time. I'm an Oblivion fanboy, so I'm always gonna be comparing Skyrim to Oblivion. I'll be comparing Elder Scrolls 6 to Oblivion, assuming that.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm looking through some more screenshots, and I'll give it to you guys. I think it is a little washed out. The colors it is kind of gray.
It's even the grass.
Hey, man.
The
Like,
grass
I
was
see where
like
you're coming
brown.
from.
That's why I don't like Fallout 4. was not fun. It's a wasteland. I understand it. It's supposed to all be dead and gross, but it was nice when you got a mod that lightened all the colors up.
I was
Sick
about
of
to
looking
say
at gray.
that. There's
So you
like
can just mod Skyrim to make it better. I'm trying to compare it to the base game.
I actually play. I only play Skyrim with a certain mod. I forget what it's called, but it makes it look a lot better, or more lush environment.
Oh,
Right,
lush
right.
is a big deal because Oblivion default is very, very lush for how old that game is. The
Yeah.
amount of grass and everything that you see. Skyrim is like I could walk up and see the flat 2D texture and walk around and see that it was a 2D texture grass, rather than having so many of them. It didn't matter that there were 2D textures because there were 2D textures layered.
All right, so it sounds like we're all on the same page for looks and I guess graphics.
Well, one more
What do you guys
thing
think
here.
of the character, like how the characters in the game look? Because we've been talking about the environment a lot, but we haven't talked about the characters. I agree, man.
I want to hit one more thing on the environment. The buildings were very. I understand they're all Nord, but it was all just gray brick everywhere you went, with wood.
Yeah.
And the interiors never felt much different. It didn't matter which city you're in. All the bars kind of felt the same. There was like loft material, like loft feeling with fires in the buildings, all the same wooden doors, and then caves also felt very repetitive. It was either gray stone, slightly green stone, or there's some brown stone in there. Like that was the different colors in the cave.
I think Solitude is my favorite city because it actually looks fucking different than like the rest of the fucking game, dude.
Some of the design is very pretty. Where's the college? The Majors College.
Winterhold.
Winterhold's really cool, although it's just white and snowy. But if you see the cliff where the college sits on from a distance, like that stuff's cool.
Yeah.
They have cool creation, but still you're using a shit color palette over that.
Yep. Could not agree more.
100% agree, Cam. I'm on your side.
And but yeah, and then like all the mobs in the game and characters also not good.
Pretty much the same.
Yeah.
There was not bigger enemies. That's the biggest enemy was a dragon. Everything else was relatively a little bit bigger than human size. So that's something I've never enjoyed about the Bethesda.
Spiders.
There were giants.
There were giants and mammoths. That's the only big things that stick out to me. I feel like I want to go in a cave, and at the end of the cave, I want to fight some big, crazy thing, not just another giant that I had seen in the wild. Yeah. And they were never in caves. There was never dragon priests were the cool end bosses, or
dragon priests were sick. I'll give Skyrim that. Dragon priests were sick.
Yeah, they were.
But they were cool, but they all looked the same, and they were kind of underwhelming as a boss fight.
They all had a different mask.
Slight variation.
I actually kind of disagree with you on this, Cameron, because I thought that they did different things when you fought different priests. I think they all had their own like style of magic too and everything.
They did,
if I remember correctly.
I'm really curious when we get into the gameplay topic. That's
you kind of touched on something real quick. This is a little segue, and I want to talk about it. What did you guys think of because in a game like Skyrim and Fallout, there's a lot of dungeon crawling. What did you guys think of the dungeons in Skyrim?
I loved them.
So I really liked them. I would come back to saying they could be repetitive.
It was awesome. I just remember after a long day and coming back and playing Skyrim and just the sense of adventure that I got from it, and there was traps, and it was just sure it might have been a little bit repetitive, but it sparked, I guess, my curiosity, and I wanted to keep going. I didn't want the dungeons to end.
I got you.
I really liked them.
What do you think of the puzzles, Zidane?
That's where it got repetitive. That's what I was gonna.
Kind of easy. You had the talon things, right? Isn't that what you used a lot? The eagle talons or whatever they were. And
the pillars was another one.
You would turn it and you're like, oh, okay, door opens. Next.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were all pretty uninspired for sure.
So, um, I guess there was a good bit of variation. There were like a few different types of dungeons, and then there were like a couple special ones on top of that. I don't know if I guess Blackreach doesn't really count as a dungeon, does it? That's just like a special underground area.
I
Black
love
They were
colored better.
Blackreach
What's
was
that?
awesome.
Yeah, it was
Someone remind
colored
me.
better.
Someone remind me of Blackreach. Is
There's
that
a dragon underground in the
It's the
footage.
giant underground cavern with the glowing mushrooms.
the huge one, right?
Huge.
Yeah.
Fucking
huge.
huge.
That
Took
place.
you like an
was-
hour and a half to get through it.
Yeah.
That place was amazing.
And you
For
fought the blind elves on the way down, and
It
then
was
there's a whole other variety. There were like ancient Nordic ruins, like the first ones,
and the dwarves.
dwarven, Dwemer ruins, elven. Were there? Well, there were like
There was elven ruins somewhere.
there were elven. Well, I'm not. Are elven ruins separate from Dwemer ruins?
Oh no. So yeah, we
Or
might be
is-
thinking of the
I
same
think
thing there.
Dwemer is elf.
Yes.
They are correct.
Yeah. Am I missing any other ones? Were there any other kinds?
I don't think so, but I like that you said the glowy mushrooms. It was the
Yeah.
one spot in the game that doesn't look like anything else. They use color. Those
Yeah.
glowy mushrooms are like different color glowy, if I remember.
But I mean, most of the like open world, like caves and dungeons, they were all pretty similar.
Yeah.
A lot of reused assets. They all looked about the same on the inside, and it was always the same. Like, go line up the three pyramid things so the pictures of the fish line up or whatever.
Pictures of the fish.
Yeah,
He's not
I know
wrong.
You're right.
and there were some. I mean, each dungeon, maybe not each of them, a lot of, especially quest dungeons, were laid out pretty uniquely. So it wasn't just walking through the same thing.
To me, in my opinion, Blackreach was the exception. It shows how they could have done it. It shows how good the dungeons in Skyrim could have been, but they're not, in my opinion. They are extremely uninspired, boring enemies in most of them. It's either, and kind of what Cameron said, there's like rarely a boss at the end or something like that. The most
about-
exciting kind of boss fight I can think of is like the gauntlets, like when the skeletons come alive. And they redid that like 5 times in 5 different like dungeons, like where you refight a bunch of skeletons, they come to life.
That's
Dwemer Centurions. We're forgetting about those.
Yo, those things those things slapped, man.
They
I-
would
I-
would
a
destroy
large
you.
Mechanic.
Yeah.
They were actually a pretty big boss, kind of like almost like Cameron, what you were talking about earlier. They were quite a bit bigger than you, I think, like twice your size.
At least,
I don't,
yeah.
I don't remember it being that big.
And they would clap your
It's been a
ass.
while.
They
Yeah.
would destroy you, Zidane. I agree with that. Okay, those guys are legit.
So I talked about that one episode of like our ideal game. I explained it being sort of Oblivion Skyrim-esque, but the dungeons being good. And then at the end of the dungeons, give me a boss. Give me a Dark Souls level boss. Make it more unique. Even if you're repeating those bosses 2 or 3 times to other dungeons, reskin color, change something up just a little bit, like
Make it hard.
Yeah.
make it hard. I didn't ever. Yeah, that's a play conversation. But give me just more unique enemies. I just felt like that's something Bethesda has done not very well in
Mhm.
Oblivion and Skyrim, especially after playing Morrowind. Like there was some pretty unique shit in Morrowind. There's a lot of different enemies, and I only played 20 hours of that game. I fought a lot of different stuff and a lot of different sizes. And I felt the races with their armor sets between the races was much more distinct than like the races in Skyrim. So you get Nords. 80% of the people you run into are Nords. It's not fun. And there's not like a specific Nord armor.
No, not I agree, man, not at all. Like I like in the thing that was so great about Oblivion, it was set in Cyrodiil, and Cyrodiil has a lot of different types of people. It's not a Black Marsh, it's not a Hammerfell, it's not a Skyrim, right? So you have the opportunity to have a bunch of different races, make the game a lot more diverse, and not just insert Nord here.
I always assumed that like the basic leather and like low level iron armor were the Nordic armor because they kind of look like it, but that's not really fair because like elven armor is like serious armor.
Glass armor, man.
I
Yeah,
love glass.
I mean, then again,
It's so
there wasn't
bad.
always. So the different kinds of armor aren't always really comparable anyway. So like as you go from like one type of armor set to the next, you're actually significantly increasing your armor rating. So like elven to glass is a big bump, and then from glass to like dragon bone, and then from bone to like ebony, and then that to daedric, or however it goes.
You did that backwards.
Did I?
There's like a light dragon bone and a heavy dragon bone, and those were the top.
Okay.
Dragon bone armor, baby.
Was it ebony, then daedric, then the two bone armors?
Yes.
Daedric looked the best, though.
There's different. Yeah,
I like
the
Daedric.
coolest for sure.
Ebony would like a word.
Ebony is cool.
I like the
Nightingale armor.
I did rock Nightingale armor a lot.
Shitty
Stealth
discount
bonus
Batman.
boss.
Man, I'm shitting on this game. So I think the armor is ugly, man. I think that the armor is, and that's not just Skyrim, man. I think in all the Elder Scrolls, I really didn't like I didn't like any of the armor sets. The only one I kind of like is Daedric.
Dude, glass armor in Oblivion is so ugly.
Isn't it just
shiny green, and then you basically have like glasses with no lens cover your eyeballs.
With like a nose guard too.
Yeah, it's so ugly. You're right. None of the armor except Daedric really looks, or special armors look good. Nightingale armor.
In a game like that, you have to have good armor, man. Like in WoW, you can look so fucking cool, man. And like and like in Dark Souls, man, like you can look so amazing. And in Skyrim, you just look like my favorite armor from Skyrim was like the banded iron from like the very beginning. So like I'm getting my favorite armor at the beginning of the game, and then at that point it's all just downhill. So
mod it to new armor.
Yep. Make it look good.
Every time like this game would not be as good with that. Like obviously it would, but like this game, its saving grace is mods, man. Because we have said that like multiple times so far. Is like, well, I just mod it. I make the game good because it's not initially.
Remember, you remember when Steam wanted to use Skyrim to pilot their like Steam like workshop subscription, or maybe it was Bethesda.
Bethesda.
What was that? Bethesda wanted to move they wanted to shut down the open modding community and move everything to like a paid subscription modding service. Like
did it.
Bethesda wants to make money off community content.
Yeah, it flopped pretty hard, pretty quick.
Yeah, everybody was pissed. That was a big problem.
Then in Fallout 4, they did the same thing and they just kept it in there. But then people who wanted to mod it modded it on the side. So it was like mods for people who are too lazy to figure out how to mod their, which is not hard.
No.
So they can just pay money.
But it's like, where does Bethesda get off, man? Like, what are they charging you for?
Lazy.
Allowing someone else to make content for their game for you?
Yeah.
Are you not honored?
No.
I agree, Stan. It's disgusting.
That is gross. That is worse than microtransactions.
Yeah.
That is Bethesda being a shit company.
Dude, honestly, if video games keep going the way that they're going, I swear we're gonna start paying by the fucking hour for gameplay from Google Stadia.
How many DKP is that off?
1,000.
Yeah. After 1 hour of video games on Google, after 1 hour of Cyberpunk 2077 on Google Stadia, you have to watch an ad to keep playing.
God, please, oh Jesus, I would get rid of my computer.
But it's like the game doesn't even stop. It's like in the game, everything freezes and it's like on your HUD.
Oh God!
You can't do anything about it.
Stop that.
No, you have to watch a whole pilot of a new TV show.
Or
No. Fuck all that. You got to do the YouTube survey. Which of these products have you heard about or considered buying recently?
none. Skip ad.
Yeah.
Well, yep. It's one of the fastest ads out there.
It's fantastic.
You just say yes, I'll agree to answer. Next.
What is next on our shit list for
Our shit
Skyrim?
list.
Yeah.
Probably let's do the story. Let's talk about the story. Someone else go, dude, because I'm literally just gonna say how it's shit.
I'll take this again. I didn't give a shit about the story. In an Elder Scrolls game, again, I'm hard comparing this to Oblivion. I thought that the guilds were very lackluster compared to
Oh my
what you
God.
did in Oblivion. The
It's
Thieves
a
Guild.
fucking crime, Cameron. I'm sorry, I gotta talk about this. It's actually a fucking crime how bad the guilds are in Skyrim, because in Oblivion they're the best part, man. Go ahead. I know that's what you're gonna say.
Yeah, so that is the best part. Side quests, in my mind, are typically like cooler than the storyline. So back to Cyberpunk, I'm excited to go do some side quests and have fun with those. Like, I'll wait for the main storyline. We'll deal with that later, whenever I feel the need. And that's what I do in these games. I get going. Oblivion, I'm not gonna go talk to the Joffrey for like 50 more hours. I'm just gonna show up a total badass by the time I get there. And that's the
Right.
same. But in Skyrim you kind of have to start it because you need to get the dragon encounter started before you just start roaming. But then you should join guilds. So the Thieves Guild in Oblivion, this is my biggest complaint. I have two big complaints about the guild. The Thieves Guild in Oblivion versus the Thieves Guild in Skyrim was drastic. In Oblivion, you were penalized for killing people. You were not allowed to kill people. They're like, we're not the Dark Brotherhood. We are the Thieves Guild. You had to sneak. You got bonuses if you were never detected. Like, a lot of cool stuff to do, incentive. And then and then in Skyrim, if you're doing that, go burn down these beehives on this island.
Yeah.
You can literally walk onto that island, murder everybody on the island, burn the beehives, and walk away. How
Yeah.
is that the Thieves Guild? And
Mhm.
then the other thing, the Dark Brotherhood. It's not even memorable in my mind in Skyrim.
Cicero.
So
Cicero
Cicero's all I
cuddling with the
remember.
Night Mother in her coffin,
Okay,
going
there's
for a ride down the
moments.
waterfall. It was a great time.
There's some moments. I remember many moments.
that moment when you go, sorry, Cameron, but when you go into the coffin and she talks to you, that is the only cool thing that happens the entire time.
That's a scripted moment.
Yeah.
You're right. That is cool. And so or when the place gets burned down and that one bitch is like burned dead but still talking to you, that was pretty cool.
She looks like
Crispy.
shit, man.
Crispy.
I was like laughing. I was laughing so hard when I was talking to her the first time I played that, because she just doesn't even look. She looks totally wrong.
Okay, I assume that we can just kind of spoil shit because these are such old games.
This game's 9 years old.
Well, Oblivion's what, 14 years old?
Yeah.
So, it's almost 21, boys.
That's
so
true.
in
It is
Oblivion,
December.
like, not only during a mission they're unique because you would get incentive to kill people in a unique way. So I remember one specific one, you had to kill this guy in his house. And if you killed him without killing his like butler whatever guy who was like crazy, you got a bonus. So you could walk in there, shoot with an arrow. You could go sneak around in his attic and see, oh well, this fucker sits underneath a giant elk. I can untie the elk from the back end of the thing, drop it down and kill him, and then it gives me better help. Like, there was situations there. Oblivion had the quest where you go to a party where everyone keeps dying, and you had the option to play it like a psychopath and not let anyone find out until the very end that you're the killer, or if you just go on a murder spree and kill everybody. But obviously, it's a lot more fun to do it one way or another. And then bonuses doing it if you don't let anyone decide, figure out who you are until the and then the twist in that one was awesome. Like, oh, you've been killing all these people? You're killing the Dark Brotherhood, you son of a bitch. Like, how were you were getting those dead drops, and those dead drops were always swapped out. So you started that was so cool.
It was so creative, man. From the storytelling to like the missions that you did, basically all that you just said. It was so much more creative
So
in Skyrim or
if you skip to
Oblivion.
this moment in the podcast and you hear the excitement going on here about Skyrim, it's only because I'm actually talking about Oblivion. One thing Skyrim topped over Oblivion, the Mages Guild in Oblivion was a fucking drag. I've done it a few times,
Mhm.
but the end result is totally worth it because you get to craft your own spells and stabs.
Become the most powerful. It's the
You
most
get to
powerful
become the
thing
most
you can
powerful
do.
mage.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything about the Skyrim Mages Guild. I just remember it wasn't as big of a pain in the ass, which is sad that that's a pro.
My experience with Skyrim and the story and the questing is going to be vastly different from both of yours because
You haven't played Oblivion.
I haven't played Oblivion, and it's the only Elder Scrolls game I've played. And to me, I have nothing but good things to say about it. Like, the main story was, whatever, Fosrada, kill a dragon, got it. Got it, whatever. No one gives a shit about that. But it was all the side questing. It was the Thieves Guild, it was the Dark Brotherhood. Like, those two, I loved them so much. And I maybe I should go back and play Oblivion to see, but they were
I
so
bought that for you. You go
like,
play it.
it looks like dog shit. It's hard for me to. Anyway,
No, it doesn't. Mod it.
mod it, make it look good. The Thieves Guild and the Dark Brotherhood were so memorable to me, and they were just so fun. Like, I've started games just to get through the main tutorial, kill that first dragon or whatever, and then go do those two storylines again because I had so much fun with them. And
then do that with Oblivion, dude.
And
because like you heard me get so excited and get so hyped because those are such good guilds. And there's no arena in Skyrim, and there's an arena in Oblivion.
Like, why? Why is there no arena? Hello?
But
what are you doing, game?
I loved it. I loved it. And even the Imperial and the what was the Imperial and what was the other side?
Stormcloak.
Imperial and Stormcloak side quest and stuff. That was really fun. Like, I loved it all. It was good. I'm sorry. Hate me. But it was good.
I don't want to say it's bad. It's just so hard to not compare it to Oblivion, and that's 100% what I've been doing tonight.
It's not a bad game, man. It's just because when you're walking around and like exploring and shit, kind of like what you said, Zidane, that's fun. I 100% agree, but it's so uninspired, man. That is my biggest gripe with Skyrim is it just seems so uninspired, and I can't help it. That's all I think about when I play the game.
We've got to bring some pros back though, because it's not a bad game.
I gave you pros.
I haven't talked about it yet.
I know
so, I mean, I feel like maybe we've all got some rose-tinted glasses here because I look back so much more fondly on Skyrim than I do Oblivion. So I just feel like I'm opposite of you guys. I remember more from the Skyrim quest lines than I really do from Oblivion. I mean, Oblivion did have some really awesome, really creative ideas, but there were some unique things to do in Skyrim too. At one point, you impersonate the chef and poison the emperor or something at his daughter's wedding.
That's the Dark Brotherhood, isn't it?
Good call.
You go on his boat. You go to Valhalla, fight dragons. You raise. I thought it was neat that you raise the dragons from the dead. I thought some of the Dark Brotherhood things were neat. Like, you find the Dark Brotherhood by stumbling across a kid doing blood rituals in his abandoned house.
Yes.
That's interesting. There's one point where you walk into a town and, oh my God, someone's been murdered in this house. And if you go figure out who murdered them, you can buy the house.
And then it's a haunted house. Right?
Yeah, and it's like a haunted house with a quest line, and you go figure out what happened. Yeah. I mean, I think there was a ton of great stuff. Now, I do also remember a lot of great things from
think half of
Oblivion, and I get where you guys are coming from with the repetitiveness. There were a few repetitive things. I would say Oblivion was very repetitive too, because man, did I get tired of hopping from fucking gate to gate to gate, looking for the towers to go up, and then eventually just go
That's the
kill
worst
the
part of
guy.
the game. Worst part of the game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Was there a Fighters Guild in Oblivion?
The companions.
The companions is what it was in Oblivion.
Oh no, it was the Fighters Guild in Oblivion.
And then it's the companions in.
Yeah.
Okay, so
The
I
wimpy
honestly
werewolf guys.
so I remember the Fighters Guild in Oblivion
My
because I
God.
never really did strength builds, and that wasn't really my thing. But it was just more along the lines of you were like helping out the community and stuff, right? Like you were just like good dudes doing mercenary
Yeah.
work, sort of, which is cool. So I liked the twist in Skyrim of the companions to become like a werewolf. Like that's something more they added. That's something we need to talk about too, because we didn't talk about that with Left 4 Dead 1 to 2. Is kind of the advancements it's made, because it's too hard to not compare this to Oblivion. Like I think we need to kind of talk about, especially the way we've been going at it, the improvements it's made, the innovations that they have.
But they regressed on so many things. That's my point, dude. That is my biggest problem with the game is they regress on so many ways.
You're not wrong.
Let me tell you something.
Tell me.
When you get when you get when you become a vampire, I'm sorry, in Oblivion, you get like these disgusting, like scary as fuck, like dreams and stuff. You'll have dreams that it'll be a wall of text. It'll say a dream like you're throwing up maggots. Those maggots just keep coming out of your mouth and your eyes and shit. And then in Skyrim, it's not like you don't have anything like that. You don't have like an interesting wall of text. You don't have or like when you level up, you don't get like a little
Synopsis
thing of text saying, "Hey, you got better."
yeah.
Like like it's just not as creative, man. You're just a vampire. Just a vampire.
Yeah.
So
that was a regression, but I would also say vampirism in Oblivion was AIDS. I hated it. Hated it. I abandoned my save when I turned into a vampire. It was the worst thing.
It's so unique. What's being a vampire? It sucked. It wasn't the best. But you got powers and it was cool. It was true to being a vampire. What was being a vampire in Skyrim?
Garbage.
Oh no, never did it. I was always a werewolf.
Yeah.
Was that
cooler than Oblivion, but not realistic?
Was that just the DLC? Could you not get vampirism before the DLC? Because
no, you could.
Because in the DLC you could turn into like the Lord Vampire or whatever, where you were essentially the werewolf but with magic instead. Did you guys ever do that DLC?
I did. I don't remember.
I like that one.
So that's one of my favorite memories in Skyrim was part of that DLC. You could get this bow. It was right at the end of the thing, and you could either bring back the darkness or the sunlight, and like.
Oh, that's right. You blotched out the sun.
You could blotch out the sun with a fucking arrow.
Yeah, I remember that.
That's cooler than almost like anything in Oblivion. Like that was so unique and so different because it changed drastically the way your game played. It was so cool. Now, if you were a vampire, that would really help you, but I do not want to run on Oblivion in the dark. And then I think the other one was you could shoot the sunlight arrow into the sun, and it would just like damage any vampires like exponentially, and then it would just hurt like other enemies that you were near. But that was so cool. That was one of my favorite things. Oh, it was exciting. But there was no Umbra in Skyrim. Foz.
I didn't like the Daedric quest either, man.
In Skyrim versus Oblivion?
They're like most of them are not very good.
They weren't unique enough for dealing with the gods.
Yeah, I remember like the opening of 2 of those, but not what I actually had to do. So I'm going to assume it was a generic "go here, kill this."
For real.
Meet
Yeah.
Chris and Mark.
Man, Sheo Gorath, who's one of the most infamous ones, he has his own fucking DLC, which that DLC is amazing.
Mhm.
But his fucking mission is like laughable in Skyrim. It's so bad for like
Following the-
Lava Jack.
one of the most important characters.
I think it is
So-
Cam.
That's the Wabbajack Foz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so.
Then that's all you get is a stupid maze.
Bro, in Oblivion, you make sheep fall from the sky with Sheo Gorath. That's ridiculous, and I love it.
He puts you in the fucking sky.
Yeah, if you fucking mess with him. Cool. So we kind of touched on that really well, I feel like. We didn't talk about the main story a lot, but that's because
Post Radar, kill a dragon.
it's
There was more to it than
Yeah,
that. There was a decision-making process to it because you had to pick a side of the main story.
I would definitely say I enjoyed the Skyrim main story more than the Oblivion.
The Skyrim main story
it-
takes you to Valhalla too. Just
Yeah,
throwing that
it's
out there.
I think it's better because the Oblivion main story never interests. Like, because we always say the worst part of Oblivion is the Oblivion Gates. The Oblivion main story deals with the Oblivion.
Mm.
Like, now it's cooler being able to go into Oblivion Gates with other NPCs. That's awesome. But I was more interested because it was not only that there was dragons coming, there was civil war as well. Like, it was
Dude,
better done in my mind.
They
I
took
think
away
that
their
the-
Nordic god. They won't stand for that.
I think that the gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm losing my train of thought, but I'm almost I have it back, but like
He can do
it's
it. We're
it's
getting
the
there.
main story.
Good job, bud.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for the support.
It's the main story.
We love you, Foz.
Main
Thanks,
story,
buddy.
quest.
Thanks, buddy. I liked the. I did not. This is what I was trying to say. I'm sorry. I did not like the characters. I don't remember any of them. Like they're so boring and so bad. Like in Oblivion, I almost agree. Like some parts of the story are more fun, but in Oblivion, I really like the characters. I love Joffrey, like a badass like monk blade. I
The
love
blades were
Varys.
cool. You're
I
right.
love Varys, the Red Guard blade. He's awesome, and I also loved Martin, played by my boy Sean, King of the North. So I mean, there were just really, really good characters, man. And in Skyrim, the characters are just awful.
You're telling me Lydia is not the shit?
She could carry the world on her shoulders, man.
Yeah.
You can give her everything, and she's like, "Yes, sir."
Yeah.
Nah, I actually went with Ayla the Huntress more often than her.
Lydia. I never used followers, actually.
Yeah, I hate followers.
I don't like followers in any game. So I think that's another reason I didn't like Outer Worlds as much, was because it was very follower centric.
You were never over encumbered with a follower. You just gave her everything.
But eventually you could just craft enough iron daggers to be rich.
Mhm.
There was cheeses in Skyrim too. I don't feel like there was as many cheeses in Oblivion.
What is next on the list for the game?
I'm trying to think. So we've done performance, we've done looks, we've done story.
We have not done gameplay.
True.
It was
Let's do
we
that.
kind of have almost through all of the things we've talked about. We've
I
talked
kind of
about
want
it
to talk
here,
about it a
bud.
little more.
Yeah, I want to talk about it for sure.
Cameron, do you remember what we said the other day when we were talking about Dark Souls and Skyrim?
I want you to re-inform me.
Okay. I just thought it was we came to a really good conclusion.
I'll remember when you start talking.
Probably. So in Dark Souls, the gameplay is fun. Okay? And this is Skyrim and Oblivion. I'm not trying to be a fanboy with this one. This is even in Oblivion. In Oblivion and Skyrim, I have to make the game fun. It's not fun on its own. The
Mhm.
gameplay, the combat. It's not. I have to make it fun, or it's not interesting. You agree with that, right, Zidane?
I don't.
What? You love Dark Souls? Like,
Wait, are
it's
you
so-
getting at the fact that Dark Souls is sort of linear versus?
No.
I'm confused. I'm sorry.
What I mean is that you have to make. I don't know how else to say it. So
You
like,
have to make Skyrim fun.
yes,
Yes,
I do not
because
agree.
I don't think the objective it gives you from the get go is to do the main storyline. I don't think the main storyline is very fun in either game, in Oblivion or Skyrim.
I agree.
So if that is where it pushes you, then I guess so. I make the game fun because I go out and explore, but I'm not forcing myself to make the game fun that way. That's just the game's good enough that I want to explore, or it's intrigued me enough that I want to explore. So that's just what I choose to do. And that's the genius of like a brand new Elder Scrolls game, is that like for me at least, I go explore, I enjoy exploring, and as I explore, I discover side quests, I discover guilds. And that's why I don't like the main storyline, because it's so linear and handholdy. Which linear and handholdy isn't bad. Oh, linear is not bad. I just in those open world games, I take them as an open world game. I'm not going to pay attention to the main story. I want to explore. Is that wanting to explore? Is that making my own fun? I guess so, but it's incentive. The incentive to explore is there.
Mhm.
Let me try to frame this another way.
Yeah,
When
I
I
don't
play
understand. I'm
Dark
sorry.
Souls, man, when I play Dark Souls, man, I am so invested in playing that game. I because you kind of have to be. The game demands your attention almost. Um in Skyrim and Oblivion, when I'm playing the game, when I'm doing like the gaming features and its functions, most of the time my mind is elsewhere.
Okay,
Hmm.
I can see
I'm
that.
just
I mean, I can see why you're saying that. I guess how you're saying
yeah.
that, but I still don't agree.
Zidane, you've never played Dark Souls and been like your mind is kind of somewhere else, focused on something else. You
Absolutely
are
not.
when
You
you're
are
playing
100%
Dark Souls, you
invested.
are so into it.
You are
Yeah.
100% invested.
So that's like I said, that's all the Elder Scrolls games, even
I
the
would.
Fallout games too.
I don't know. Back when I used to have buddies come over to play Skyrim with me, I used to feel like I'd get pretty invested with it. I mean, that would be all we'd do. We'd stay up all night playing Skyrim right next to each other, just doing shit.
I agree with you,
Leveling, running
Stan.
quests. Yeah. I mean, there
100%
was all
invested when I
kinds of
played.
shit. One of my favorite things was like running around Skyrim, finding a random cave, and then like, oops, I'm in Blackreach again.
Yeah, I loved it.
That
Just
was one
running
of the funny ones. Like
Yes.
you were always stumbling back into really exciting, interesting things. It was a nice. It's almost like the map was kind of like a nice balance there, and it really was the same in Oblivion too. The map was a nice size, but oh
Hey,
man, there was so
real
much
quick,
cool stuff.
Zidane.
What's up?
Real quick, Zidane. I'm sorry, Stan. At what time are we at right now?
212. 212.
2 hours and 12 minutes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit. Okay, so we've got it. I'm sorry, I wasn't keeping track of that. So
Lightning round.
No, we're good. We're
So-
good. We can finish it quickly.
no, we have time. We're in this.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna rush it. But I just wanted to know that. So, is there anything else we need to talk about on any aspect of the game?
Gameplay. I thought we hadn't all talked about gameplay
Yeah.
yet.
We just did. You did.
That's what we've been doing, man.
Where have
Well, I
you
want to
been?
throw out one more thing about the gameplay. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Go.
Shoot
I do not enjoy the combat in Skyrim. I think it was like it ended up being too easy. If you
It
dual
started
wielded,
off kind of hard.
if you dual wielded
Mm-hmm.
swords,
You did
Went
so
up
much
the-
DPS, man.
went up the right tree, all you did, I think it was hold like left and right trigger at the same time. You would and then like spin and hit like 4 times. You'd almost one hit a dragon on hard. Like it was
Yeah.
silly easy. Or if you went up the right tree in magic and did everything correctly, as long as you didn't use ice because everything was 50% resistant to ice, you just blow them up way too fast.
You gotta get the ×12 sneak attack.
Or that.
Yeah.
See? In Skyrim,
Yeah.
there was a lot more just fucking blow someone up, just one hit, just get it over with. In Oblivion, which I don't think either of these combats are very fun.
No.
Like, they're not in depth enough. But like, I really enjoy Oblivion because I use a sword and a shield. I'll swap to my bow. I'll use magic. I get stealth. There's a lot of variety,
The
which
magic
makes it fun.
Cameron, the magic regressed in Skyrim.
Exactly,
There's no other way to put it,
So
because
I used to be able to.
you can't use, like, lightning bolt used to be like a projectile. You had to time that shit on people in Oblivion. It's the lightning bolt, and I love the animation too. And also the touch. I just want to say the touch.
Touch spells.
Yeah.
So, no, I agree with what you're saying, but biggest thing in Magic for what I like was Oblivion. I could hold my sword and shield. I could have my bow. No matter what I had, I could still cast my spells. It wasn't something I had to hold independently. In Skyrim, I had to hold a spell in my hand, which, yes, they improved upon this. So let's say I had a high enough magic and I held like the chain lightning in this hand and the chain lightning in that hand. Instead of just having two hands, you would like put your hands together and give like one big beam rather than like two independent beams. So, or you could charge up a bigger fireball than a smaller fireball if you're using it in both hands.
Which is actually cool. I do appreciate that.
So I have mixed feelings about the magic between because, like I said, I could cast at free will in Oblivion. I have to hold them in my hands in that game. But really, across all of them, because you can do the both in the same, I really enjoy the gameplay. As simple as the combat is, because you're just mashing one button if you're doing melee. But if you mix it all up and you give a little bit of variety to it, it's up there. It's really good. You can't really mix it up in Dark Souls. Don't know why I keep comparing this to Dark Souls. It's just what I'm most familiar with. Like, I can't switch to a bow and shoot people and then use magic. Basically, if you want to mix it up enough, you can get good with a sword, and then you can enchant your sword. And then you're doing your build inefficiently if, other than enchanting, you upgraded all that level to cast a magic spell with it. It's not worth it. It's definitely worth it in those games to cast magic. And that's the same with Morrowind as well. You can, cast, switch, do whatever you want in the situation.
I agree. I agree with. I think you said something really well there, Cameron, when you said like you can switch it up in Skyrim.
Yeah, and I mean that's any of the Elder Scrolls game. But the issue is if you just went for a dumb orc wanting to do full-fledged melee combat, I think that. And let's go back through Morrowind. Morrowind can shit as hell because you can just miss anything. Oblivion, I felt like there was a little bit of weight to it, but it still felt wonky. But I think Skyrim between Skyrim and Oblivion, because they're the closest, Skyrim felt the worst because with Skyrim it felt so floaty. If you hit somebody with a big honking mace, I want to hit him and it stops on him and it just shakes my screen and I pull it back because it was a blunt weapon. If I slice through him with a dagger, then let me follow through. No matter what you hit him with, you followed through and you just saw your health bar go down. It was very like MMO feeling of an. It was not. There wasn't impact. It was floaty. Does that make sense?
Yep.
No, that makes perfect sense.
Yep.
So, did we cover everything? We are having technical difficulties again on this podcast.
Why are you saying that?
I think that Fosman has crashed. His power lost.
Oh yeah, he's gone. He's frozen.
We're sorry, Foz.
Fosman, come back. So where were we then? We talked about gameplay, performance, story. I think that was pretty much it, isn't it?
We needed at least 4. I thought 4 was the number.
I thought it was 4 or 5. Yeah. So we talked about gameplay,
performance, gameplay, graphics.
Graphics. We talked about graphics
and story.
That's 4. Okay.
So I think we can kind of give our numbers. Did that just mess up our little pictures?
Yes. Yes, it did.
What if I just streamed something?
Yeah, try that. Boom,
right?
fixed.
All right.
We're on the wrong names though, but I mean, you and
We'll figure it out. You know who we are by now. If you sat here and listened to our dumb fucks talk for 2 hours, you know who the fuck we are.
Stan is you, and you are Fosman. Anyway, go ahead. Yeah. Give us your ratings. Obviously, 8 being the highest, because 8-bit opinions.
I am very solid. I'm very determined on giving it a 7. I guess is what I should say. As soon as we started talking about it, that's what I had in mind. I think it's a great game. I recognize there's a good bit wrong with it. I mean, there are some things that didn't really bother me that were kind of an issue for you guys. Like, I totally get where you're coming from now with the color scheme thing. I guess I didn't mind it / kind of liked it, or maybe I was just so immersed in it that I just didn't even register. I had a lot of fun with the quests. But I mean, it could be a little buggy and glitchy and weird, and the NPCs were kind of sometimes. So, I mean, I think it deserves to lose a point or two for that, but overall, it's still like very high up there in my list.
7's still pretty high, so yeah, that's not bad.
7's high. I mean, these guys didn't give Left 4 Dead a 7.
I gave it a 6.
So
I want to go last.
Okay, I'll go next. We'll put Fosman's in here just right here. So here's the clip. Find me so we can stick Fosman's review in.
Okay.
Or we'll just redo this whole scenario. We'll figure it out. Everyone, put your hands up. Put your hands up, Zidane.
Okay, we're up.
Figured it.
Don't talk for 33 seconds. 3 seconds. Put your hands up.
Are we good?
Let's do it.
We're good, Zidane? All right, awesome. So, welcome to an uncut version of 8-Bit Opinions, where we put my dumbass in here because I lost power the other night. I am so sorry about that.
How long did you lose it?
About like 2 hours, man.
Shit.
Like 2 fucking hours, yeah.
I just went to bed. I've been pissed off.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever like the power goes out and you get kind of spooked?
I get brownouts a lot.
Okay.
I don't remember the last time I've actually lost power.
Yeah, I haven't for a while either.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember too. It's definitely been a hot minute. So, and of course, it happened at the very end when we were all about to give our numbers. Like, that was just the most unlucky way that could have happened. But anyway, so this is an edited version of our review. Shout out to Zidane for doing all of that, like he does, doing his magic. And yeah, so now I'm gonna give my number of Skyrim, and then you guys are gonna hear the other opinions as we go on. So for me, Skyrim is, and I have already heard all of your opinions on it. I'm not gonna spoil it, but I will say that my opinion is a lot more cynical. It's a lot more harsh on the game than you guys are. I think one of the main points that I was just bringing up is that before we went live again is that it's a huge regression to Oblivion. And even though, maybe it's not fair to compare them because they're different games, to me it is a sequel, and a sequel should improve. And in my opinion, Skyrim, for the most part, regressed. Like, literally in every aspect to me, the game regressed. I can't think of something that was an improvement, and that is jarring to me. It makes me not like the game whatsoever. The combat is kind of like what we said. Like, it's like I said before, it's like it's not engaging. The guilds and the storylines were really bad. And the characters are not interesting. The only faction I ever had interest in with Skyrim were the Greybeards, and they were almost kind of like overlooked at times, where I could have appreciated them more.
They really were overlooked.
But you consider them a faction?
Definitely.
Like,
I don't mean like the guild type factions. I just mean like,
just
a faction within
people.
the game. Yeah.
Okay.
Like the Blades. Like the Blades are in Skyrim, and they're so bad.
I was thinking of like Imperial versus Stormcloak kind of faction thing. Yeah, okay. I know what you're saying.
Yeah. Just a faction. So all that like, and then the modding community is probably one of Skyrim's saving graces. It's what makes the game somewhat enjoyable. So that is a plus to the game. That is a benefactor. I think the dungeons are uninspired. I think that they're really boring a lot of the time. It's the same copy and paste of something that I've seen 100 times. Kind of like as wide as an ocean, but as deep as a puddle would be the best way for me to describe them.
I like that.
There ain't no depth.
So yeah. So in conclusion, it's uninspired. It's a regression. It looks worse to me. It's like this bland color palette. Story is not engaging. The combat is not engaging. And everything took a step back. The magic, like everything, the guilds. I'm trying to think of other things so I can be fully fair on this. The armor has never been a strong point of any of the Elder Scrolls series, so you can't even look interesting. Character customization is.
You didn't
not
like
that
the
great.
Daedric armor or the Dragonbone armor in Skyrim?
I definitely didn't like the Dragonbone armor. I would say the Daedric armor is probably my favorite in Skyrim.
That was pretty cool. Nightingale armor?
Yeah. No, I did not
No?
like. You guys said how you like the Nightingale armor. I thought that
What?
the Nightingale armor is
Oh,
silly,
it's so
man.
awesome, dude.
You look like discount Batman. I would
Discount
wish
Batman.
I almost wish I could have it without the helm. Then
What's wrong with the helm?
then the helm looks silly, man.
You just see your eyes glowing.
You look like this. You look like discount Batman to me. I don't like it. The only armor I liked, Stan, was the Daedric armor. So,
Discount Batman.
I guess the weapons were cooler. I guess like a
I
couple
like
of
Daedric
them.
weapons look cool.
The enemies are like pretty boring. At least one thing well, I mean, I'm done comparing them, but like it's just there were a lot of like uninteresting enemies and then like it's like bandits and shit. So my point is that you guys are, I don't know how you'll feel about this, but I would give Skyrim a 3.
Whoa.
It's below average. It's a huge regression, and it's like
Really?
it is the most. It's to me, it is one of the most disappointing games I have ever played, like in my life.
Have you
you've
played
ne-
Cyberpunk yet?
You've never gone back and played Skyrim again?
Yeah, I have multiple times.
See, I couldn't imagine going back to a game that I would consider below average multiple times.
Yeah. Is
The
a 3 really worth multiple plays?
The exploration, the open world aspect, and me just kind of role playing and having fun with my own character is the only thing that makes me enjoy the game.
And that,
But even that gets old. Like I never end up finishing it. Like if I play like Dragon Age Origins, I start a character and I finish it. I have like 200 hours in that game just on Steam alone because the game does a good job of keeping me interested in it. Whereas Skyrim just doesn't do that, man. I've only beaten the game once. Like I've gone back and played it multiple times, but who hasn't gone back and played Skyrim once or twice? But like my main point is that it's like I said, it is the most disappointing game like I've ever played because it was a sequel. One thing, and you're gonna bring this up when we edit this and everything, like Zidane, but like I was like at the release of it, I was like super hyped for the game and everything. I was ready to enjoy this game, and then when I played it the first time, I was like, man, this is just a failure. The game is a failure, man. And that's just my opinion.
Well,
So,
I'm glad I didn't play Oblivion then.
That totally resonates with me, Foz, because I feel like with your take on the art style, just the introduction scene had to be really disappointing because that, I'll admit, that one was even particularly grayscale. Like,
For
yeah,
sure.
you're really right. It is very bland in that first town.
kind of fading in on the wagon.
Yep.
Welcome to Gray World. The roads are gray, the trees are gray.
Welcome to Morrowind Part 2.
Yeah.
Morrowind had swamps.
It definitely does not have a good color palette, though.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. I kind of like the colors up in the northern regions of Skyrim sometimes.
I would say the best part is like not really even near Solitude, because that's just a nasty marsh. But the City of Solitude, I always really enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe like the Midland, like River Run area is decent to admire.
Mhm.
And then, I mean, yeah. Uninteresting characters. Like I could keep going on it, but I'll just put my hands up and shut the fuck up. It's a 3. It's below average and disappointing.
Good review, Foss. I really appreciated. You had some good
stuff.
points in there. It was nice.
Great job.
Yeah, I think that
You kept
get some
talking
good
about Dark
points.
Souls, though.
Yeah, too much Dark Souls, dude. Good job. Okay, so even after that, I'm gonna give my review honestly. I'm gonna pretend like I didn't hear that. It's weird. So I'm gonna start with my number. I think I did that last week.
Okay.
We said no 0.5s.
No, not allowed.
I know.
So no 0.5s.
Don't you fucking do
I'm
it.
gonna give a number. I'm gonna give 2 numbers, and then I'm gonna discuss, and then I'll come back to my number.
Gotta pick a number, dude.
Because I'll talk myself into one or the other.
Okay.
I am on the fence right now between a 5 and a 6.
Okay.
I
5.
feel like 5 is really low
Yes.
because an average game is 4, and this is Skyrim. You know, it's Skyrim. It is. You say it, people know it.
Mhm.
Never mind. It's a 6, just with that alone. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a 6 because
That was hard.
yeah, it was. So I don't know. I have a hard time not comparing it to Oblivion. And that is really where I have a lot of issues with the game. So I kind of envy Zidane right here because he has a more pure
Very pure.
very pure input on how he can rate this game. I'm constantly comparing it to Oblivion. I mean, I don't think there was a single thing I said tonight and
That
I
wasn't
think maybe
compared to Oblivion.
that wasn't compared to Oblivion. I think we maybe should have set a rule to that Oblivion doesn't exist, and it would give this game much more fair rating.
You gave it a
I'm just
6, though. That's not bad. That's a good
No,
game.
it's not bad, but it's only because last week I mentioned what would you guys give yourself? Like, what would be a game you gave an 8? And I'd 100% give Oblivion an 8. It's in my top 10. I think any game that qualifies to be in my top 10 deserves a 7 or an 8. Because that's purely opinion based. But Skyrim, it's not a lot of memorable stuff, but I have good memories of the game. I had a lot of fun achievement hunting. It was one of the few games that I went achievement hunting on. It did have a good sense of exploration. I really enjoyed just adventuring in the game and just the silly stuff that you could do, like get beat by a giant, get flung into the air.
Yep.
The guilds weren't the worst thing. They all, I thought, were a little repetitive though, because they just had like repeat contracts at the end of at least the Thieves and Brotherhood, which are my 2 biggest guilds I like. They had like miscellaneous bullshit quests you had to do before you could get to the real final quest, so that really sucked. But they were still fun because the rewards were great. I mean, you could become the leader of the Dark Brotherhood, or you could get the Nightingale armor, which was like
Badass.
yeah, it was so cool. There's 100% definitely good stuff about Skyrim, but because this is opinion based and I have to compare it to something I would consider a masterpiece, it doesn't compare to Oblivion. So that's why I give it a 6. It's
Amen.
It's a good game. It's a great game. If I could give it a 6.5, I'd give it a 6.5.
You
But it
cannot.
doesn't.
0.5s don't
I
exist.
They do not exist. Forget what I said. It's almost a 7, but it's stuck at 6. It can't push its way up to a 7 because a 7's too close to touching Oblivion, and it doesn't touch Oblivion. Almost. Great game. Definitely deserves it. it earned that 6. Sorry, one other thought I've had that we didn't really talk about much was the innovations of the new one. I enjoyed I thought shouts were really cool to just mix it up. So I complained about in Oblivion you would just cast spells, while rather than in Skyrim you would hold the spells. So I guess that was one of the redeeming factors in Skyrim was that you didn't have to like hold a shout. You could just use a shout. So I could push someone back, I could leap forward, whatever the shout you used did. Um yeah, there was some steps forward, but a lot of steps back story wise. And it deserves 6. It's great.
Fair enough. I just want to give a quick shout out to the main title theme of Skyrim. I mean, if you play the first 5-10 seconds, everyone's gonna know what that song is. So it's a great song. Like they've said before, I've only played Skyrim. You know, so this is pure, like unadulterated, like this game only. How I think it is, and I would give it a 7, honestly. Like, I went and bought, I was in airborne school. I got a taxi, drove in this taxi a half hour to buy a PC to sit in the barracks at night to play this game. Like, it got me through some shit times, and it's so, like, the nostalgia for me is high, even though it's really
was a bitch.
Even though it's really not that old, 9 years, whatever. And like the aspect of exploring, like I got so immersed in this game when I would play it. I would just walk around and like, where's the next cave?
Yeah.
Where am I going? I need to find the next cave. I gotta find what's at the bottom of this fucking cave because I need to know now.
That was me and Marwin.
Like, like in around every corner, I felt like I found something different, and it was just so cool. And it was like really the first, besides Fallout 3, but it was hard for me to compare those two, like open world RPG, like Skyrim, like an Elder Scrolls game that I've played. So I was just completely enveloped into this game, and I loved every second that I played. 7. Fight me. Well,
is that it?
I guess that's it.
We're wrapping it up.
Yeah. Well, like if you guys have any thoughts about Cyberpunk, if you are crashing, any gripes, complaints, any bugs that you may have experienced that we haven't, anything that you comment below. And don't forget to, I guess, give us your rating, your 8-bit rating on Skyrim. If it's a 5, 6, 7, or maybe even a 0, whatever.
We're all sharing Fosman, so here's my turn. It's the best part of the week, guys. I really look forward to this. Thank you guys so much for being here. Just love being around the boys.
I just love you guys so much.
I'm not kidding. And that comes out of my heart, the same genuineness that comes out of his, because this, seriously, I look forward to this. Like, every single night, basically, I intend to come home and play at least like an hour of video games. It's a good cool off. It's good to hang out with friends, but like, this is basically like playing video games in a different sense, because we just get to hang out and talk about it. And I try to make it a rule that I don't touch my phone. I give this my full attention, and it's fun to just dig into and almost nitpick, especially with these reviews we've been doing lately, but just, it's good time. It's good hanging out with you guys, and it's good just chill, have a good time, and talk about video games and just get it going. I appreciate it. Now, we kind of took everything that Foss says, so now Stan's got to take my part.
Yeah, Stan.
With the total enthusiasm that I do.
That's all the 3 words. All right. Well, thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe down below. We appreciate your support so much. It means the world to us. You make this all possible for us. Thanks, guys. Stay safe out there.